Jesus, that took a while. I was trying to figure out where the hell was my sound coming from. I know nobody's here. Well, me, I am here. um, I'm just gonna be doing some pics. Having that horror day. So, when you have a horror day, maybe doing some basic, maybe what you say to yourself. This chat is for the Green Birds. Yeah, Green Bird Gang. Hashtag Green Bird Gang. I don't know. I hope everybody else is having a great day. Of course, I am number one in YouTube. Of course you are, Mr. Bill. Thank you for being around. I know there's like very little people around today. So it's kind of weird. I'm gonna change something real quick. Yeah, that's better. I've been watching Caleb Hammer Financial Audit, and my god, it's a shit show. Like, everything is. Whew. I'm okay, thank you, Abe. I'm just having a really bad day. Oh, Paige does not see these. Wait, what's the video game coping? Oh, Pixel Art Co. Okay. Why not? Paige also is kind of cool. I should have him. Why am I doing this way? Hello, Paige. How are you tonight? I hope you're better than me. Everybody. I hope everybody's having a way better day than I am. I was trying to get a fucking dono bar going, like manually updating it, and it's the worst fucking shit I've ever had to deal with. I feel so dumb because I couldn't do it. Just couldn't do it. I tried so fucking hard, like for like 2 hours. I went against my own self and I asked the AI for help, and the AI was completely and absolutely dealing with a retard. Like, I don't know. Even the AI was like, what the fuck? Oh yeah, I was gonna check basic stuff, right? What the fuck? What? Where are the other ones? Uh-oh. Actually just got up, gotta preheat the oven and do evening prayers. Be back. Okay. Have a good one. Take care. Paige. She got in, didn't like the stream. Woman. I'm gonna be like the worst possible person right now. Horrible. I'm just gonna start making shit up. Just bad day, dude. Just a bad day. Emetophobia. Oh, I didn't realize, but I can fuck something up. So give me a second. I'm gonna try to fix it. Save file. Perfect. Huh. How many Discords are you guys in? I mean, like 30, maybe I'm around 40. I think I'm in around 40 Discords in total. I mean, facing that seems excessive. I don't even know how many I mean, actually. Is there a way to check, like, quickly? How many I mean? Actions? No, not here. I don't know how many I'm in, to be honest. After all, I have a job to do, right? I guess so. Oh, okay. If I remember correctly, oh. You have a job to do, right? I hope this State Wars goes well. I'm a little bit worried, but it's because I'm just a worrisome person. It's not because of you, Abe. Boring stream, I see. Did you guys saw the Marte debate? It was an okay debate. It was nothing great or special or extreme, but it was an okay debate. God. Who's this score? His production of? I have no idea. I don't know. I wonder where everybody's at. Maybe they realize that I'm just boring today. It's like I also didn't put it anywhere in my stream, so it makes sense. I'll just do the. You know what? I'm just gonna do the drunken karaoke this Saturday. Whatever happens, happens. Who cares? You didn't put no drama as your title? Yeah, that's the case. To be fair, there's no drama to be have. Like, whose drama are we gonna be talking about? There's no drama right now. What drama are we gonna talk about? There's absolutely nothing going on that I care about. When it comes to the drama, like, we already covered it all. And there's absolutely no reason to, like, go further. Right? At least that's my opinion. It might be wrong. But in my I don't know. The inspiration hung out, I think it's Agrilepolis. No, this is a Spiro. Spiro is Inspiration Hangout. Which is like one of the cool guys on the space, to be fair. Good to see you, Ashton. How are you doing today? You're not late. Being absolutely honest, there's no being late. What is this? Oh, no. Barely put. Oh, I want. But this is the one. Just been bouncing around, listening to a lot of people. Yeah. I mean, I was around. I just don't think there's any like. Maybe I'm wrong. You know what? I'm wrong. I don't even know. I'm just gonna say I'm wrong, but right now I don't see anybody that I really want to watch online. Izzy was checking the debate between Andrew and Pikachu, fucking Pikachu guy, and it was a good debate, but I already watched the debate. And then Flow State is on, but he's still going, trying to keep up the drama relevant, which I don't care about anymore. It's just boring. It got to that stage. Inspiration Hangouts is Spiro, right? That's correct. I already seen like 4 reviews. Yeah, there's been like enough reviews of that debate already. The one I would watch is the other one. But I don't even know if it's online. And for what I've heard, it was just a big circle jerk. Like they keep going all around and around the same shit. So I don't know if that is correct or not, but that's what it says. No one reviewed mine on EOD. No one reviewed mine on Teriyaki either. Oh, there it is. You guys want to watch the Richard Carrier versus Andrew Wilson? Yeah, let's watch it. Way too small. Yeah, we're still small. There's also the thing that EU and EOD are like in the same side. So it's a little bit harder for people to get in the mood, I guess.
Off.
I'm not gonna put the video. Just gonna watch.
I'm not trying to sound like anything, man. I'm messed up.
Housekeeping wise, if you debate cons, but we do think that
is a lot of the policies that we're seeing throughout this country stem from Maine. And in order to nip
Yeah,
it
it's
in the
live,
bud,
#1 welder.
we hope that you support Maine First Project. Please go to mainfirstproject.org and learn about us. Thank
Remember,
you very
like the
much.
video,
Let
please.
the debate begin.
I'm gonna mute up. Enjoy the show.
for those of you watching at home, they are linked in the description box. Check out mainfirstproject.org in the description box. That is linked below. And with that, we're going to jump right into this with introductions of our speakers. So, starting with Dr. Richard Carrier is a world-renowned author and speaker. As a professional historian, published philosopher, and prominent defender of free thought, Dr. Carrier has appeared across the US, Canada, the UK, and Puerto Rico, defending sound historical methods and the ethical worldview of secular naturalism. Please welcome Dr. Richard Carrier. And welcoming Andrew Wilson, who runs The Crucible, which focuses on
Let's
politics,
fucking go.
news, debates, and reviews.
That's us, boys.
And he is also helping spearhead the new debate promotion called World War Debate, which kicks off this coming January. Please welcome Andrew Wilson of The Crucible.
He's got a Marlboro clenched in his teeth, ashes falling like snow on the street.
This is weird. Like, it's cool that he has his own intro, but it feels a little bit cheap if he's not, if the other person doesn't have their own intro as well.
Dr. Richard Carrier's opening
Yeah, Smoky Man
statement.
bad.
I thought they were going to play the whole
Dr.
thing.
Carrier for 15 minutes.
All right, excellent. Audio sounds good.
Audio sounds not great, but it
What's
was.
going on there?
The music was way too loud.
Oh.
As
Threw this
always.
guy off, man. He's like, what? What's going on here?
Setting.
All right, I'll mute
No,
up.
I think that would make it worse. It's too up.
We found that, so far we found that if you hold it closer, he won't have to turn up the volume because it'll be closer to your face.
Oh, no, it's already turned up is the problem. So if I bring it closer, it's worse.
He's saying turn it down, but hold it closer. So he'll turn it down once you bring it closer.
Oh, I see. No, actually, it'll work fine because it worked before. If you just bring it down, it'll be cool.
I have to defer to the tech guy.
All right. It's just I can't maintain the angle, so that'll be a problem. Okay, so are we good now? Is the audio sound all right?
That's what
Nope,
she said.
Still too high. I think it needs to be way down.
All right, while they drill for a
This is human well-being. By contrast, when Christianity is set aside and policy and decisions are made based solely on evidence and reason, we got the first human rights-based constitutional democracy since the pagans invented the idea and Christians refused to readopt it 2,000 years ago. Christianity was built to abandon evidence-based morality in politics and to replace it with what I believe is toxic superstitions and false fanaticisms that ruined almost everything about society.
I enjoy the
No
fact
longer
that we
listen
have
to
to
those
believe what
ideas
they
and
believe
instead
is like what
reclaiming
I believe.
evidence-based morality and politics.
Here's what you.
The observed effect of that decision is seen across the developed
Every
free
single
world,
time.
from Japan to Sweden, Taiwan
And
to
it's always
Finland,
the same.
Australia to Canada and beyond. The United States is actually a bit behind on all metrics, still mired in Christian nationalism and all its bad decisions. But we could catch up. We just have to choose evidence over superstition and reason over authoritarianism. The earliest
Why?
example of this dual test and its different outcomes was the United States Constitution and its Bill of Rights.
I hate to say it, forgive me, Dr.
We just
Carrier,
have
but
to.
just because this is such a big
No.
debate, we do want to make sure that the audio is where we need it to
Okay.
be. Is basically
Yeah, I went into their chat and spammed that it was too low.
What's going wrong?
We can. He's at least 50% too low on the stream
You want to
side.
restart the clock and I can restart the speech? If you
Yeah, you're gonna have to restart the
if
speech.
you
Nobody can
don't-
hear you, buddy.
Yeah.
usually there's some people in the chat that will say it's too low, but there are just too many where I'm like,
Yeah, okay.
we've got
Dude, I've got the volume up all the way on my end. Look, see, all the way.
I mean, that makes it.
Why is Mr. Ito
Okay,
No,
sounding
don't
so
turn
bad?
the gain on the mic
Okay.
up. Turn the output volume of the mic up.
So, like, is
Genius.
this
See,
a
if I was
good
there,
one,
this wouldn't
distance right
happen. I promise you.
Yeah. We're gonna have to lower those levels, though. Literally on my chin. Okay, come on. Like this? No.
There,
that's
yeah,
terrible.
there we
That's
go.
what-
No.
that's-
Yes,
Okay.
that sounds good, idiot.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm
let's
gonna mute
see.
up.
Are we ready? Are we ready? Okay. Now, can people hear in the back if I speak up?
is it okay, would you, I know it's a pain, but if you could just start from the beginning.
Yeah, no, actually, I'm totally cool with that. Since I'm reading a speech anyway. it's
Oh my
totally
god,
works.
this is the worst.
Okay. Individuals and organize as societies to maximize universal human well-being, according to evidence and reason. And that means it places evidence over any other authority or ideology, and it puts spreading human life satisfaction above any other interest. Only human interests matter above all, and only evidence can determine how to best achieve them. By contrast, there are 1,000 different Christianities teaching 1,000 different ways to be and to organize society. And all have the Bible on their side, all pick and choose what to follow and what not. So how do we determine which one is correct? If it's by evidence, then that's just secular humanism. If it's not by evidence, then we can't know it's best or even true. And most Christianity does not choose based on evidence, but ideology and tradition. We can also compare results. Christianity has been tested for thousands of years. Whenever society-wide, and especially when in control of government, it always increases war and oppression and depresses human well-being. By contrast, when Christianity is set aside and policy and decisions are made based solely on evidence and reason, we got the first human rights-based constitutional democracy
Yo,
since the
Dave, how you
pagans
doing?
invented the idea, and Christians refused to readopt it 2,000 years ago. Christianity was built to abandon evidence-based morality and politics, and to replace
I'm gonna say this, okay? Every single time I hear shit like Christianity, uh, Christianity was supposed to do X, Christianity was supposed to do it right. Also, Marilyn Pixel Art. Nice, nice way to call her a witch. Good job. Smoky Man, but did you buy a Green Bird yesterday? I did. And Green Bird is just getting used to the new environment. It's gonna take a little while. Shit happened though, like real bad shit happened. But I'm not gonna talk about it. It's fine. Just gonna cope. I'm gonna cope in silence. Does he have a gold chain and bling? Soon. Soon to have it. Let's continue
it
watching
with
this
toxic
idiot.
superstitions and false fanaticisms that ruined almost everything about society. Secular humanism is about no longer listening to those ideas and instead
Well, secular humanism is about listening to me instead. Because I like when you people listen to me instead of listening to reality and stuff. Get selling in before bestowing your exactly.
reclaiming evidence-based morality and politics. The observed effect
I'm just gonna
of that
say
decision
this,
is seen
okay? Cats and cats do crazy shit, okay?
across the developed free world.
If the
from
green and
Japan to
red bird
Sweden,
hook
Taiwan
up,
to
what color
Finland,
will their kid
Australia to
be?
Canada and beyond.
Green plus red?
The United States is a
I
bit
think
behind
it's
in all of these metrics, but it's still mired in Christian nationalism and all its bad decisions. But we could catch up. We just
I
have
think
to
it
choose
should be
evidence over
around
superstition and
orange.
reason over authoritarianism. The earliest example of this dual test and its different outcomes was the United States Constitution and its Bill of Rights, which moved in the correct direction, literally outlawing half of the 10 Commandments and establishing evidence and reason, the only basis for law and justice. And from that derived the most important humanist conclusion about politics, replacing violence as the principal threat or mechanism for resolving conflict with free speech and democracy, a concept we since expanded. Before that, the European wars of religion, known as the Wars of Reformation, had been tearing Europe up for 300 years. The American colonies were
I can do
also
another
founded
one.
in part to
Which
escape
one?
religious
Which other
persecution.
one?
And before all that,
Would-
the West was constantly entangled in holy wars since the fall of Rome. The
I
death
have-
penalty was widespread
I know,
and liberally
the coder.
applied, not only
The
across
decoder
several
one.
inquisitions. Elite violence and abuse against the poor and the enslaved was common. Apart from all that normalized violence, oppression was standard. Freedoms were scarce or limited, and most people lived in some degree of poverty, especially when we count slaves and serfs. When poverty for some after the Industrial Revolution fell to 25% of society, that was dependent on the backs of slave-based industry at home or abroad, and otherwise financed by conquest. And when those slaves are counted, the actual poverty level was still around 50%. This is all well established in studies ranging from Martin Ravallon's The Economics of Poverty, History and Measurement, and Measurement and Policy, and Michel Malat's The Poor in the Middle Ages, an essay in social history, as well as Guido Alfani's Economic Inequality in Pre-Industrial Times for the Journal of Economic Literature. That removing religion and replacing it with human-centered evidence-based reasoning would have resolved or prevented almost all of this has also been well established in modern scholarship, ranging from Hector Avalos' study Fighting Words, The Origins of Religious Violence, and The Reality of Religious Violence, From Biblical to Modern Times, to Steven Pinker's Better Angels of Our Nature, Why Violence Has Declined, and Michael Shermer's The Moral Arc, How Science Makes Us Better People, which all summarize extensive findings in the field of history.
What's
This
the
difference is
put under
because in
clip,
reality the
apparently.
Christian
It's
Bible is
pretty
full
bad
of
at
bad ideas
the
about how to
opposite.
fix all this, which instead when implemented only perpetuated and exacerbated it through thousands of years of failure. And that has been well established by studies ranging from, again, Hector Avalos' The Bad Jesus, The Ethics of New Testament Ethics, and Slavery,
Bad
Abolitionism, and
Jesus.
the Ethics of Biblical Scholarship, on up to Phil Zuckerman's Society Without God, What the Least Religious Nations Can Tell Us About Contentment, now in its second edition, and several sociologist studies in the non-religious understanding secular people and societies, and beyond doubt, the secularization of society, and more. If you want to look into this, I cite more studies and articles online, including Justin Brierley and The Folly of Christianity, which summarizes the well-tested material differences between Christian and secular humanist-oriented societies. Further demonstrating that everything good that has happened since the American Revolution
Anything?
came from
Wait,
abandoning the Bible and
wait.
replacing it
What?
with
No way he said that. There's no way.
secular moral and political
Did
philosophy.
he actually say
It
that?
summarizes the well-tested material differences between Christian and secular humanist-oriented societies. Further demonstrating that everything good that has happened since the American Revolution came from abandoning the Bible and replacing
Everything good that happened ever since the revolution was due to abandoning the Bible. These people are so fucking stupid. Wow.
it with secular moral and political philosophy. I demonstrate that in my article, That Christian Nation Nonsense, God's Bless Our Pagan
I
Nation.
demonstrate
I
that.
cover many more examples of things we are now grateful for that were actually pagan, rarely in the Bible, and only reluctantly adopted by Christians in my article, No, Tom Holland, It Wasn't Christian Values That Saved the West. So those are the places you can go to follow up on this. But as one illustration among hundreds, consider the sociological studies of Gregory Paul, Gary Jensen, and R.G. Del Montaigne, all of which I cite in my article, Which Worldview Produces the Better World? These show that statistically, the more Christian any developed democratic state, province, or country is, usually the more income inequality there is, the more crime, the more poverty, the more drug abuse and teen pregnancy and illness and death. And the rate of violent crime often increases with the region's religiosity, especially murder. And there's no correlation with atheism. By contrast, the less religious a developed democratic society, the more we see universal caring for the sick and the poor, and less murder, less inequality, longer lifespans, even better healthcare outcomes and at lower cost. Christianity does not cause these better outcomes. It never did in 2,000 years. Only evidence-based, human-centered reasoning did this, often against Christian opposition or indifference. Human-centered values ensure we seek to make the lives better of everyone, not just a select or privileged few. It is therefore a boon to all of humanity, the actual goal we should all want, which benefits even the privileged few, because a happier, more prosperous, and less oppressed populace generates a safer and more prosperous environment for all. So every rational and well-informed person wants this, really. And evidence-based solutions to that goal are always superior to others. Because the most important conclusion about everything that rational evidence-based humanism reaches is that it entails admitting we won't always be right about everything and will always improve and correct ourselves to ever more evidentially supported ways of living and governing. We're always testing, getting rid of what doesn't work, investing more in what does. Christianity, by contrast, prioritizes the God over people and obedience to unelected authorities and conformity to outdated self-defeating principles. It tends to undermine or suppress rather than foster freedom and critical thinking. And it has a millennia-long legacy of failure to prove it, as I just summarized, and with those differential statistics I just cited, it is demonstrating that failure continually still. As another illustration among hundreds,
Damn, I
consider
can't
the
believe
concept
that
of
these
human and civil rights,
people
which
are
I
supposed to
discuss in my
be
article, Debunking John
the
Davidson's
brightest
Pagan America.
inside.
Human
That
and civil
stupid
rights
of
exist
a
nowhere in the
statement.
Bible. Jesus never
never
taught them
heard
or anything
anything
like
more
them.
retarded.
Neither did any other biblical author. They actually
You
originated
can
with
say
pagan
you can say I'm
Greeks
being
in the
mean,
evolution of
and
the
I
Greek
am,
confederacies that
but this is
formed
the
to
most
oppose the
stupid
tyrannical
of
successors of
statement I've ever
Alexander
heard
the
in my
Great.
entire life.
And they were subsequently developed, the concepts, in pre-Christian philosophical thought and adopted by the Roman Republic. They arose out of social contract theory, which today we can
Social contract theory. I remember today. Today I said just today I had said that um that we live in the Roman Republic pretty much, and the whole point of the saying that was that there is this kind of idea that the Republic or the Romans, like, we actually live in a stage of the world in which we are going through the same kind of ideas that led it to the the civil wars in the late Roman Republic when Julius Caesar, or Julius Caesar, whatever you want to call him, rose to power. And one of the big reasons why it happened and how he rose to power was that was this kind of awful ways in which we are seeing um, like people move around. I don't know. So I'm a little bit frustrated, to be honest. Like I that really, yeah. Like I understand. It is frustrating. Um, like have I ever seen my old kid abs correct? He's like worst greatest and brightest. Now, obviously, they're not the brightest, right? I don't know to actually go on into it, but yeah, it's K2's fault. No, K2 is fine. Hello, K2. Hope you're having a great day.
establish on an evidence-based foundation of game theory. And this is explicit in the United Nations Declaration of Human
Game
Rights,
theory.
which states that, I quote,
Wow.
recognition of the inherent dignity and of the equal and inalienable rights of all members of the human family is the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world, which is an empirically determined fact. You cannot reliably have freedom, justice, and peace in the world unless you recognize human rights and dignity. It is an empirical fact that only societies that choose to respect at all levels the inherent dignity and the equal and inalienable rights of all human beings can reliably expect to enjoy freedom, justice, and peace. And the degree to which a people respects everyone's dignity
like
and
Mike
treats
Jones?
certain things as everyone's equal and inalienable rights will correlate with the degree to which they all enjoy freedom, justice, and peace, as well as emotional and material prosperity. This is another provable empirical fact, and it has already been demonstrated. The more rights respecting a society, the happier and more socially prosperous it is. In fact, game theory shows that this is probably an inevitable fact of all social systems in all possible worlds, as demonstrated in Robert Axelrod's scientific studies of cooperation. And within ourselves, when rational and informed, we should all want to be this sort of person in our own moral lives, because otherwise our behavior will be self-defeating in our interactions with others, and because upon any rationally honest confrontation with who we are, we will despise ourselves when we become the sort of person we despise, and not the sort of person we like to live near and interact with. Psychological science has shown that hiding behind lies to avoid either of these realizations is ineffectual because everyone needs to be rational to achieve what they want, and that always entails being honest with oneself and not hiding from the truth with false beliefs. I provide a starter bibliography of the relevant science I'm referring to here in my peer-reviewed study for the journal Religions, titled Objective Moral Facts Exist in All Possible Universes. And that includes science
My
establishing
friends
the deep
like it.
dissatisfactions we've documented of even narcissists.
My friends like it. It was peer reviewed. My friends liked it. It was so fun. It was so funny. God, I hate secularists. The fact that they use so many fucking um they are absolutely using um authority files every single time. It's so annoying.
And sociopaths, compared to the more readily accessible satisfactions of the honest and caring. But key starting points on that include Roger Bergman's Why Be Moral, Walter Sinnott Armstrong's series on moral psychology, and the recent analysis of Stephen Morris, The Complex Relationship Between Morality and Happiness Around the World, which shows that liberal moralities correlate with happier people, while conservative moralities correlate with more miserable people, evincing a direct link between empathy and trustworthiness and every individual's best interests. So, both prongs of secular humanism need to be
Really?
understood in their different functions.
Have you ever seen anybody that's actually happier because they're secularist? You killed a. I can't say that. Okay, I can't say that. I'm gonna continue, but this is this is stupid. What a way to lose everything, right? Just don't lie.
What secular humanism finds to be the best government and what it finds to be
Even
the best way to
Destiny had
behave
like a
and live,
oh,
which are not identical.
yeah.
The one must be a certain way to allow the other. When
Secularist
we apply
is
reason to the evidence, we
miserable.
discover that governments should only exist to maintain a civil society in which everyone can pursue their own lives according to their own worldviews, and only managing conflicts between them in the interest of maintaining civility, especially through peace and justice. And by only evidence-based policies, people are then free to advocate for, live by, their own moral conscience. This is what the UN means by respecting rights being essential to ensuring peace and justice, and by the freedom to conduct ourselves in whatever way our reason decides, so long as it is compatible with the civil society needed to maintain those freedoms in the first place. This is the right to speak and think freely, the right to believe in whatever
I'm glad you
religion or
like my
philosophy you
Jones ape.
choose, the right of association, the right to an equal say in who constructs and manages our government, the right to not lose our life, liberty, or property without due process of law, the right to access food and water and shelter. These are examples of the kinds of rights
Oh,
we have
look.
empirically proved necessary for maintaining peace and
The
justice,
right
which
to
everyone needs in order to
access
have reliable access
to your
emotional
money.
and material prosperity.
The thing is gonna be paying for
Whenever
all
we
of
do it
that.
the other way around and coerce
Him?
the entire morality
No,
or
of course
worldview on
not.
a society,
Why would he?
which has to be in disregard of producing and maintaining a civil society, it always ends in a loss of peace and justice, and in result, a widespread loss of prosperity
That
and
is
well-being.
paid with the money of the
So we
state.
know empirically
As-
why we
as
need a limited
it
government,
obviously
and
has
not
to
a
be.
moralistic one, a government maximizing freedoms as far as
I
won't
can show
impair them,
you.
to ensure a stable civil
Mhm.
society as a backdrop for everyone to experiment
Yeah.
and debate and embrace ways of living.
Yeah.
While that common government, which we also empirically know to be successful,
Give me a second. Oh,
must serve everyone, not
Give me a
just a select
second,
few, and
Kate.
collect and allocate resources at the decision of its shareholders, the people. Because governments are just corporations serving the people with their own bylaws and boards of directors, and every citizen owns one share and thus has one vote, so no one has more power than another. It thus needs to be neutral as to individual morals and worldview, and only intervene when conflict threatens life, liberty, or property, and only in response to evidence, not to ideology. Everything else is fascism, and fascism always ends badly. I recommend a well-sourced video on that by Digital Gnosis, Fascism, and Christian Nationalism.
Digital knows.
So our founders tried to build our government so that it
Great. Another fucking Gnostic. That was so weird. I was watching Emmet's stream, but he had Dusty's chat. I type, oh my god, I cannot believe how much coping is happening. Oh no. Did they attack you or something? I hope they didn't. Where's my fucking phone? Um, God. Um, hope you were able to see him, K2. There's been like a lot of troubles with is- say, with YouTube lately. Like, there's like problems with the integration in, when it comes to a StreamYard. There is so there's been troubles integrating with StreamYard. There's been troubles setting up goals. There's been like a bunch of troubles. Greenbeard was afraid to look Whitebeard in the eye. Yeah, they were. They're not friends yet. They will be friends though. They'll be fine. They need just a little bit of time. Um Confluence looks good though. He really does.
Podcast. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, true. And then it's fine. I don't care about this. Let me continue.
Wouldn't collapse into that failure mode, because as soon as you allow the state to dictate morality and worldview, it's just a matter of time before you get outvoted and morals and worldviews you hate get installed to control.
The goal thing finally got fixed for you, Mr. Bill. Yeah, I know that it got. Well, there's been like a lot of people, but the thing that was watching me, and then there was another chat. It was weird. Um, by page, the amount of coping. Are you sure you just haven't been drinking? Asking for a friend. Um, just okay. My bad. My bad. My bad. My bad. Page. Page and K2 causing trouble. They're having friends. They're just having friends. They're just having fun.
Control you instead. The only way to avoid this is to build a government that is robustly neutral about private ways of life, treating everyone the same, which means not equally, because everyone in their circumstances may differ, but equitably, and which means not in disregard of the evidence and the aim of general human good, but in response to them. And then you should exercise your protected freedom to live your life by the morals you find right, as long as you respect everyone else's rights and thus maintain a civil society of peace and justice. And on that, secular humanism applies the same two principles: human well-being before all else, and only what evidence and reason prove serves that end. So thank you for hearing me out, and I hope you will explore these ideas and the evidence for them further outside of this debate. Don't just believe me or Andrew. Fact check everything we say here and on, so you can come to your own informed and rational conclusion. And otherwise, thank you for having me here to make this presentation. So,
Thank you very much. Thank you for that opening statement. And just a reminder, folks, if you can check your cell phone just to be sure that it's off.
We
kick it over
learned
to
At
Andrew
Easy
for
that
his
Byzantine
15-minute
went to
opening
Emmett,
statement
Michigan
as well.
University.
The floor is all yours, Andrew.
Yeah, thanks. This actually won't take 15 minutes. I'm kind of eager.
I yeah. Uh-oh. What the fuck happened? Come on.
Ideals.
tearing Europe up for 300 years. The American colonies were also founded in part to escape religious persecution.
I know.
Everything else is fascism, and fascism always ends badly.
Thank you for that opening statement.
On. So you can come to your own informed and rational conclusion.
You can check your cell phone just to be sure that it's off. We'll kick it over to Andrew.
We'll learn that Isa's chat that Vincent team went to Emmett Michigan University. Well, yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
That's
This
true.
actually won't take 15
Everybody
minutes.
went to
I'm kind of eager to get into the back and
Michigan
forth
University,
with Mr.
yeah.
Carrier. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you for coming out. It's very kind of you to do and doing this debate with me. Round of applause, huh? I know Smoky Man bad, but you may have been misinformed. So I'm just going to kind of go through a few of these things. I saved my opening just to kind of combat. I knew that it would have kind of a lengthy one. I have a very simple argument today. But he says secular humanism defined as maximizing human well-being. Only humans matter, and there are 1,000 denominations of Christianity. Well, the problem is he's at the mercy of the same exact argument. There are thousands of different ideals around what is the secularism of the future. These ideas that people have are often contrary to each other. You could argue, for instance, that communism is a form of secular humanism, which I'm guessing that my opponent probably doesn't want communism. He says, secularists gave us the Constitution, but then he goes on to say that half of it was based on the Ten Commandments, which I thought was pretty funny. Note that the Constitution also puts bumpers on democracy. That's what it does, right? We're a republic, not a democracy. And that's what Christian nationalists are advocating for, too, bumpers on democracy. So we both want the same thing there. I guess Mr. Carrier probably doesn't trust the electorate any more than we do, or you wouldn't put those bumpers on, right? So he says we can compare results. When Christians are in charge, they start wars. And I just want to note that the United States, the thing that he references, has been essentially at war nonstop since its founding, including the more secular it gets. So it doesn't seem like, at least here, that the evidence supports that. He kind of looks at a few other things too, like removing religion and replacing it with reason and evidence. I'd like to see how we get to an ought for that exactly. I would like to point out that reason and evidence-based secularism has also led to things like the sexual revolution, things like 18-year-olds going and selling their ass on OnlyFans, essentially, and problems with outsourcing childcare away from the mother and back to the, basically to either state care or having to outsource it away from the mother, which has led to terrible results. So I'm not sure that secularism actually gives us the things that he.
What did he say? Like, I was thinking about, I don't know. I was like going to see out what was I gonna do tonight or check out tonight. As I said, around about, and I realized that I didn't see anything that I wanted to be part of. And I was like, fine, I'll stream then. I don't see anything like one that I think worthwhile. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see it. On the that I was watching a little bit of Dusty, and I was like, oh, this is just like him holding on to the drama and care about, like, drama already happened. We know what happened. What happened. Don't it's funny. It was funny. It happened already. We're gonna keep on talking about the same thing. But Sarah, what's I don't talk about that again. It's it's um. So did the video end? No, I'm just talking to chat and then I stopped.
He's
Bad
stating
streamer.
that
But
it
thank
gives
you.
us. He says the
Let-
more Christian any democratic state gets, it's usually worse in things like crime and other things. I would actually argue that mass migration causes most of these issues, not Christianity. And it's also very rational not to have mass migration, by the way. He says rational-based human reason, and he says testing. Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on a second. I'm just reading my notes here. So, he sources game theory. Can't wait to get into that, by the way. Peace and justice in the world is possible only through reason, and that's what gives people freedom, justice, and peace. I think that that's something that we need to look at too. He says psychology science shows hiding behind laws cause issues. That's interesting, but secular humanists hide behind laws when it comes to like basic things like sex. They'll say things are true that aren't true. For instance, like men can be women, things like this. Liberal societies have happier people and religious societies have less happy people, yet every study I've seen shows that at least individually that's not the case. The more secular a person is, the more mentally ill they tend to become or have bad outcomes associated with them. So,
Oh, thank you.
right to believe, he says,
Thank you,
a right
Paige.
to association. Do you actually believe in a right to association? I'm not so sure if we get into that you're going to actually.
I stopped for a moment. And everybody left. Where's everybody? What's going on today? Usually I have a little bit more people or tractions. Like there's 2 people now. Okay. I'm trying to listen to the arguments so that I can comment on it, right? It's like the opening statements. What am I gonna say? Comment on the opening?
Actually believe in a right to associate. He says coercing an entire morality, that's bad because it always results in peace and prosperity when you don't do that. I would just note that a lot of these people in the more secular nations suffer from suicidal empathy, and they do crazy things that have no reason, like mass migration. He also says everything else is fascism, and then he quotes digital gnosis, a guy I know, by the way. And I would like to know what Carrier thinks fascism is. So he says government should treat everybody with equity, another thing I'd like to get into. My basic argument is just this. So if people believe there to be an invisible being that will punish them for wrongdoing, then they will be more likely to both avoid the bad behaviors and promote others to avoid bad behaviors. Seems like a very simple, logical argument. And I'm not really sure that my opponent's going to be able to refute it. So one thing I'll say about Richard, he's forgotten more about history than I'll ever know. But I'm not so sure on philosophy that that's the case. So with that, I'd like to just get right into it when you guys are ready.
All right, we can do that. We're going to jump into the open dialogue. The floor is yours, gentlemen.
Yeah, so can we just start with what you think fascism is?
Do I have audio? Is it working?
Sean.
Oh, hold on. Maybe I need to bring it to my house. Here we go. All right. Simplest definition. Fascism is the use of force rather than persuasion and democracy to affect your political will.
And did you make that definition up?
It's based on what everybody else, historians and so forth, talk about.
It's based on what everybody else says.
It's
Yeah.
the most reduced definition.
It's just, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I got it right. Use of force.
Use of force rather than persuasion and democracy to affect your political will.
So we're not talking about historical fascism here.
All historical fascism. If it's properly called fascism, it fits that model.
Okay. So does the United States do this?
What do you mean? Does the
Does
United
you-
States do what?
Yeah, use force rather than, I'm sorry.
No, we have democracy. We actually have a say in what the
What?
government does. Usually,
Well, fucking leap door. Oh man. Oh man, this is God, I hate them. I hate libertarians so much. This is these okay. This idiot is the result of libertarians. Okay, like they're libertarians that are very very smart, very very smart libertarians, and there are very very stupid libertarians, and this guy is a very stupid one.
I mean,
Can
maybe
you
can
can't vote directly on things, right?
No, but you vote for your representative who votes for you. It's the
Okay.
same thing.
Got
It's just
it.
like a corporation. When you vote for the board of directors,
Mhm.
you can control the board of directors by your vote.
Yeah.
And so you get an equal say in what happens.
Let me make sure I write this down. I just want to make sure I got it right. One more time with the definition.
So use of force rather than persuasion and democracy
Rather than
to affect
persuasion
political will.
and democracy. Got it. I'm sorry, I don't want to straw man any of your
Sure,
positions,
sure, yeah.
right? Rather than
If you want like an
persuasion
example,
and
my
democracy.
whole intro, my whole discussion was about the importance of rights to maintaining a stable society. Fascist governments use force rather than use force to suppress rights rather than to maintain them.
So, like the Second Amendment, for instance.
For instance,
Yeah, for instance. So let's take a
The
look.
fact-
The use of force rather than persuasion and democracy.
yeah.
Let's just
so-
start with this, right? Inside of democracy, at least the current one that we have, you want bumpers put on it. You don't want direct democracy, right?
Well, we need a rights-based democracy. So I do think direct democracy can work if you actually have the rights-based model. The main reason representative democracy works better, and this is based on evidence, is that representatives can actually, they're paid to have all the time to actually do all the research necessary to make the best decisions in terms of law. And so the average person doesn't have the time or means to do that. So they elect someone to do that for them. And so that actually works better. And so that's evidence-based reason. We should follow what the evidence dictates is the best way to organize.
Yeah, so do you agree with me that the government does try to use, they try to use propaganda, persuasion, things like that? Is that acceptable in this worldview? Or is
So-
that fascism as well?
Yeah, I don't know what you're using as your definition of those things. I actually disagree with the government engaging in open propaganda, and it's technically illegal. But but the government does have to correctly inform us about evidence-based facts, so and about the laws and things like that. So the government does have to do things like that, but that's all evidence-based and is necessary for maintaining our freedoms.
Gotcha. Okay, so back to this. Now I think I got some clarity on some things. So use of force rather than persuasion and democracy. Don't you think that the American government utilizes force all the time? Constantly, in fact.
Illegally, yeah, the government violates this
Well,
principle.
legally. It legally does, right?
It legally uses, well, when it's doing it legally, it's doing it in aid of supporting these freedoms, right? So like that, as I discussed in the thing,
What?
freedoms can't go forever. When freedoms start to conflict, you have to resolve the conflict. And if that resorts to the point where you have to use violence to stop that conflict, normally, like we have a lot of other ways to resolve that conflict, so violence is the last resort, generally.
Yeah, but the problem is you say use of force rather than persuasion and democracy. Like, I don't know, if there's a protest going on, the government comes in, they shut it down, they're using the force
Yeah,
of the
I
state.
agree, that's
Is that fascism?
So it depends on particular cases, but sometimes it's not fascism because the government itself isn't fully fascist yet, but it is illegal and it is contrary to the principles that I'm arguing. So it is trending towards fascism if we allow that to continue. But sometimes it is actually justified. So it depends on the cases as to what you're talking about.
Okay, so any government which uses force rather than persuasion and democracy, when you say fully fascist, what does that mean? Like, they just always use force rather than persuasion and
when
democracy?
it's actually codified as the law.
Okay.
Right? So like if the government's breaking the law, it's heading towards fascism. When it makes the violent things that it does that are inappropriate, when it makes those things legal, then it's a fascist state.
Okay.
So we're not there yet, but
All right.
there's a risk of it.
I feel like I got your
And that
def-
is exactly what the
yeah.
founding fathers wanted to prevent. They wanted to prevent exactly that outcome. And the organization of the Constitution was built to prevent that from happening. And so the fact that when presidents start ignoring the Constitution,
If
that's
I
extremely
sneeze after
dangerous
someone
because it's
says
starting to
bless
head
you, does
towards
it
that
count as
failure
being
mode we
blessed?
talked about.
It does.
And we don't want that.
Yeah, but you're not, I mean, you don't really believe in the Constitution, right? You only believe in the Constitution that you like? Because the original Constitution doesn't look much like the one we currently have, right?
Well, remember in my opening, I said,
In his opening, he said that everything that happened after the Revolutionary War was the grand blessings of fucking idiot.
One of the
Grand
things, the
blessings of
first principle that we
secularism.
actually have to admit once we adopt secular
Oh
humanism,
my god, the
evidence-based
grand
reasoning,
blessings.
humans first, is that we have to admit that sometimes we get things wrong. And so we actually do have to learn and improve and get rid of bad ideas and replace them with good ones. So, and the Constitution actually has that built into it. It actually admits that some of it in there could be wrong and might need amendments, and so it kept having amendments, and here we are.
Yeah, so but this is really interesting, right? Because you are putting bumpers on democracy. What you're doing is you're setting a set. So the set is, well, we can have democracy, but only within the limits of things I think are good.
Yeah, that's
Isn't that actually the case?
So I think you might be mistaking me for saying that I believe that like democracy is somehow ideologically a good thing.
No. I just want to make sure I got it right.
Yeah,
so I'm
so
not going to straw man the position, but
Right.
what
So
you're doing is you're saying
You
there's
need a
set.
rights-based democracy. You can't just have a democracy.
Yeah.
Because we know empirically when you don't have the rights-based part of it, bad outcomes occur. So you need that, just like we need a combination, and I know a lot of people probably don't agree with me on this. I don't think a purely capitalist society is anything but going to end up in a failure mode. I don't think a purely Marxist society is going to end up in anything but a failure mode.
Okay.
And so we need a hybrid economy. We need socialism and capitalism working as checks and balances against each other to prevent their excesses.
Yeah, but I get it. But what
And
you're still advocating
I'm using that as an
here-
analogy to
Yeah.
democracy. So democracy and the protection of constitutional basis
but
of
what you're
rights, they're
yeah.
checks and balances against each other. So
But
the
what you're
rights-based
still
system,
doing is giving us sets. You're giving us
so it makes
sets of things that you...
empirically better outcome is to have that.
Yeah, but just giving us sets in democracy of you're allowed to do these democratic things within sets that you think are good. That is what you're saying.
What were you saying, sects or sets?
Sets. Like a
Sets.
set. So if it's the case, for instance, that we have democracy, but we don't have what you perceive as rights we need, that's not a democracy that you would want.
A democracy that doesn't respect rights?
Yeah.
Correct.
Correct.
We
And you would want
because we empirically know that
yeah,
doesn't
and you would
work.
want safeguards against that.
Yeah, you have to have that control. That's why you need a rights-based democracy, not just a democracy.
Okay, so you're going to oppress choice for people on purpose in
You're
order
gonna-
to create these bumpers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
exactly. And that's
Yeah.
all Christian nationalists are doing too. They're
No,
creating.
that's
hang on.
that's not
Hang
what
on, let
they're
me make
doing,
the
yeah.
argument. It is. It is what they're doing. They're creating bumpers. For instance, let's just
Well,
start
they're
with
not
this.
just creating bumpers.
Well,
they're
we-
creating non-evidence-based bumpers that actually lead to
Well,
bad
they're not
outcomes.
non-evidence based. Like, for instance, can you tell me in your secular humanist society, is prostitution legal?
I believe it should be.
Yeah, of course.
Why? Why prostitution should be? Do you remember? Remember when I said it? Every single time when it's the option is to pay less in taxes or degeneracy, they will go for degeneracy. It's the same thing here. It's like, oh, we're gonna go ahead and do the good thing. Well, what about these? What about prostitution? Oh, that is a good thing. But why? Because I prefer it. Because government's good. That's the whole idea they have. It's so dumb.
And do you believe
it should
that?
be legal and regulated the same way
Yeah.
the food industry
Sure.
is?
And do
Yeah, it's just like food, dude. It's a little, 18-year-olds selling their pigs on the internet. It's just like food, dude.
you think?
I have a whole article on this. You can
And-
check it out on my blog.
Okay, and
So-
what age should women be allowed to be prostitutes?
Well, adults, obviously.
What age is that?
18.
Okay, so you think that 18 years old, women should be able to be prostitutes, right?
Sure.
Inside of your secular humanist
Yeah.
society.
Mhm.
How is that going to create better outcomes for the world?
So we actually have comparisons of states that have legal prostitution and states that have illegal prostitution.
Uh-huh.
A good example is Nevada. Nevada actually has some of the lowest STD rates in the country. And one of the reasons is because the prostitution there is regulated to engage in safe sex. So because prostitutes are often the vectors for STDs and the prostitutes there are cleaner, because it's a legal regulated thing, we have a better outcome. And in fact, it's just as good as the food industry or anything else.
Would you just regulate all vice?
Yeah, you got to regulate things within the same principles of what actually works to protect people from harm.
I see. And these are sets of harms which you think people ought to follow.
As
So-
long as they don't create more harm, like regulating creates more harm than the
But
harm it's
isn't
supposed
this
to regulate,
very-
then obviously it's not evidence-based
yeah, but isn't
anymore.
this very idea of harm that you have just arbitrary and based on your own preferences?
No, I actually made a good case for it based on, we have all of these elements of the evidence we have from history of what systems work better. We have the evidence of what people actually like and don't like. When people don't want to
Where
be
is
poor, don't want to be oppressed, don't
Yeah, but
want
that's
to
Where
be.
is
based on your
my
preference
chat?
still.
It's
The idea
everybody's
is like this is
Yeah.
a preferable state of affairs for you.
For all human beings. All
No.
rational human beings will agree with these things.
Mhm.
All rational human beings agree with this thing. It's you know, he can make monolithic statements like that. Every single rational human being would absolutely just agree with me. It's the way that it works because I am correct. Because me. It's it's very interesting to me that I see these kind of things actually happening sometimes, and it's like every time it pretty much ends up in a me stuff. So it's very it's just very how to say it. It's just very satanic. That's what it is. It's just very satanic.
What
All
about
rational, informed human beings.
Yeah, so like take Nevada for instance. It is true the STD rates are lower, but human trafficking's higher. How is that better? And by the way, if you take a look at many of these countries where you see human trafficking going on, guess what? It's directly correlated to prostitution, which is legal and illegal, including OnlyFans.
Yeah, I don't know about your statistics on that.
If Emmet sneezes, we need to say Jesus. Why Jesus? I'm not gonna die yet. Jesus? No, 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 no. No, that's not correct. We say salud, which means it comes from a phrase that meant uh how was it? It was something like God bless your health. Well, what they're supposed to say, at least where I grew up, was it was something like "God bless your health," and they just pretty much shorten it to health or salud. But it's supposed to be like a prayer for your health, or it was a prayer for your health. That's what it was.
Let's just assume that that's true.
Uh-huh.
That isn't caused by legal prostitution, because that's the opposite of that, right?
It is actually.
So
In a small town in Mexico, yes, next to the cartel.
if you
K2, did you see the bird, by the way?
think it's caused by legal prostitution, then
Uh-huh.
what you're arguing for is
Yeah.
that the government should be more regulating of the industry, which is perfectly sensible.
Well, yeah, and they can regulate it by making it illegal.
Yeah, but that's
That's a great regulation. Like, oh, hey, you know what? You know what's really great
and
about
that
this?
has
We
the
can just make it
effects-
illegal.
It has all the negative effects of hurting a bunch of people. It makes it's a
who?
worse outcome.
Who is it going to hurt? How is it going to really hurt 18-year-old? How is this a better world that you are postulating that 18-year-olds can prostitute themselves on the internet
Well,
because you think
about
because you think that what they're going to do it? They're going to do it anyway?
No, they can do what they want. That's the thing. It's freedom. It's not the government's business to tell them what to do with
I
them-
think,
with their
well,
own
see,
lives.
but here's where we deviate, right? Why is it not, especially according to you, when I look at what your definition is like, it does seem like it is the government's business to regulate these things. It's absolutely their business.
Only to the pursuit of harm. So
The pursuit of harm. 18-year-olds having sex on the internet is very harmful,
Let
man.
me answer your question earlier,
Okay.
where you asked about like what would be the benefit. There are actually several, but I'll just go into the one example that we're bringing so far.
Uh-huh.
Well, who's gonna? No, I haven't seen anything today. I show. Let me know when you can see the screen for like a minute, and when you can see the screen for like a minute, I'll try to pull it up so you can see Confucius. It's really interesting that they will say, "Oh, it's only for harm. We're reducing harm." Like, well, you know, the whole industry is it's a cancer. It's a cancerous industry. It's extremely bad. It's extremely bad for everybody involved. So it's bad for the girls involved. It's bad for it's for like I made the three-prong argument the last time I debated this. The first one is it's bad for the girls. So we know that they have a problem with their mental health. It's really bad about it. They usually end up in a worse economic situation they were before they even engage in it. Not all of them, but most of them. Okay, it's one, two. The industry around this whole thing is cancerous. Like there's there's uh there's trafficking. There's a bunch of abuse. There's huge problems with the whole industry around it. Huge problem. And then the effects on society are bad. So however you see it is like you want to do the analysis in on all three stands, it's harmful. And they're like, no. How will I come if I don't have the option? It's so annoying. It's so sent to my Discord. Uh oh, you mean like a picture? Okay.
Legalizing prostitution reduces STD rates, and it reduces STD rates not just in people.
So who cares about the like but yeah, not having prostitution also reduces STD rate. Like actually enforcing it, put them in jail, like not allowing it to happen. Yeah, that also reduces it.
People who are frequenting prostitutes, it spreads throughout the society so that even innocent people, as by your definition, who aren't engaging in prostitution are actually being protected from STDs.
Yeah, and do we have some of the highest STD rates in the world right now with all of your free love, free sex? Don't stay out of my bedroom.
Do you know what correlates with STD rates around the world and in this country? Christianity.
Oh, I see. Wait a second.
The more Christian states have more STDs, the more Christian countries have more STDs.
So do you think that when this place was a lot more Christian, there were a lot more STDs?
Well, if we don't have data on that, I don't know. But
well, the answer is no. Hang on.
I'm talking about the data right now.
Yeah, I'm talking about the data right now too.
Rates, so we can show that there's a correlation between how Christian a country is and how many STDs there are, and therefore the more secular the country, the fewer STDs there are.
No, actually, when we parse this is crazy. Actually, I would never expect you to make this argument. If you're talking about the more Christian an area is, the more STD it is. If we chalk this up between minority and non-minority, that's the case. And so this is what's really interesting about this.
No,
I bet most of the countries...
It's cross-country.
Yeah, but...
To other countries. It's same in Sweden, when you compare Sweden to the U.S.
I bet most of the countries...
compare Japan to the U.S.
Are most of the countries that you're going to be making a comparison to, where the STD rates really start to climb up, going to be third world nations who are Christian?
Well, third world nations aren't necessarily free democracies. That varies. So that's not really a relevant comparison here. So, but no, yeah, these are the studies. The studies show that when you have a more Christian society... whether it's state or country, whether it's Finland, for example.
Do you think we had more?
You can't blame STDs on minorities.
Well, I got it.
The statistics don't support that.
This is wild to me. Do you think that we were more or less of a Christian country in
we can just go ahead and say exactly the same thing he does. Why shouldn't we? Like, she's gonna make claims about, Christianity is the one that made it. Why shouldn't we be able to say the same thing if we wanted to? Every single time it's kind of the same thing. I'll look at it when I can. Yeah, sure. If anybody wants to jump in, I'm just gonna let it there. Let me know on chat because I'll be looking at. Well, no, you know what? Popping up and yeah. If I do it this way, I don't know how long I'll stay. Probably 3 o'clock. I'm not finished watching it, but it's very frustrating when I see this kind of argument. Like, well, if the go down, it doesn't go down.
I don't know, 1945.
Do you think? I think we're less of a Christian country now.
I agree. So if that's the case,
if we're talking
shouldn't
about
we see way more STDs in 1945 than we do right now?
I don't know because I don't know the data on that.
Oh, well, there was...
But what would matter...
Wait, hang on.
You okay, too? How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Okay. I'm glad you're doing all right.
How's Emmett?
Emmet is coping very badly today. But
oh,
he'll be fine.
The cope is strong with this one.
The cope is strong tonight. Yeah, fucking strong. But it's going.
I'm gonna have a long day today.
Oh, why are you gonna have a long day?
A couple trailers for missing paperwork. Yada yada yada. My last leg. The shifter at that small building's tractor the shifter broke down. So me and another guy had to shift for him.
Okay. So
until
you're gonna
they
be
could get
pretty
the
much
part.
going. You're gonna be going around, pretty much, right?
Nah. Hopefully I get back 6:30. I'll be clocked out.
Okay.
Mm.
6:30 is not that bad.
Mm.
It's about 2 hours for you. Yeah, right.
Mm.
About 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you're probably gonna go home like about 7:30.
Yeah, I was just bitching because usually today's my gym day, but we'll see when I clock out.
Are you still gonna go? That's interesting. Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
this is the best. This is the best question of the other debate. We're gonna just listen. I'm gonna put it up so you could too.
Either today or tomorrow. It depends.
You go ahead and put it. This is Spiro, and Spiro fucking killed this one.
Hi. So unfortunately for you, I am the Andrew Wilson of AI debates. And here I am before you asking you this very simple question. Since you like AI and you know about Peter Thiel and Elon Musk and Neuralink, you surely know that AI is a prerequisite to transhumanism. So here you are promoting AI as an IQ equalizer, which, by the way, looking at the charts of IQ that AI has as it has been tested, in the last 20 years has outperformed Muslim countries for the last 1,400 years. Carrying on, as AI gets better, there's going to come a point where, say, AI decides that your countries don't need to exist anymore. It can take over your energy. Can you give me the list of names of the donkeys you would use to fight this transhumanist AI?
Look at this guy.
The list of donkeys.
Racism. Racism.
Did people see
He got super bad.
you?
Look at his face. He's so angry. Fucking Pikachu.
All of these dysgenic people come to the debates, James, and the guy is like not even.
Look at all of these dysgenic people.
He's gonna go Allah Akbar and throw off his jacket,
Well,
and then
he's been arguing that being dysgenic is totally fine, and then he goes on and says, "Hey, you're fucking dysgenics."
Allah
Even
Akbar.
100 pounds, and he's talking big as if like this is some.
Oh, look! There is there's Jim Bob and Meg Bob, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Let me share with this stream. I think this is, well, obviously this is Jim Bob, but I think this is Meg Bob. I don't know. Really interesting.
As if like this is some like great point that he's made, great point that he's made about AI. AI is going to wipe you out. The entire point.
Hold on 1 second.
I
All right,
know
1
that
second.
you're upset.
We do
I
have
know.
to. We have to hold on 1 second. We just. All right. The questioner jabbed, so Daniel's gonna jab a little back. We got to give him a chance to speak, though. We have
They
to be able
can't
to hear
handle
him.
it, James. They can't handle me to mock them. Okay, so that again, as I mentioned, the kind of technology that's being developed is going to destroy all of humanity, not just.
But it's gonna start with dumb ones.
Muslims. I know you have a fetish for seeing brown people being exterminated. Maybe.
But it's gonna start with the dumb ones.
I can't answer that. What? I'm joking.
Oh man.
What?
I don't know. It looked like you were pretty excited there about other people being exterminated.
But the wider point was that that technology is also going to come for you. Maybe not you, maybe you're in bed with the Peter Thiels of the world. But for the rest of normal people around us, they hate people like you. They view you as,
What the fuck? Maybe not you, but they hate you. A little bit of
Well,
a little bit of
I did.
coping. Well, it's not a little bit, a
I
fucking load of coping right there. Coping so hard.
I did see one of those people point a boom boom stick at a preacher that was saying Islam's bad.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
I
see.
think I got the video
as these
saved in Instagram.
transhumanists
They're
who only
violent.
care about progress at the cost of human life. So you're actually hated by the vast majority of human beings in the world, including Christians.
Everybody hates you.
If that
If
what
I
we
could
were talking
demonstrate
about,
for
I
you,
might have went off
if we just
traffic.
look at the
My
historic
bad.
STD rates, and we're seeing the STD rates grow, and this is attributed to things like sex work and promiscuity, especially sexual revolution since the 70s. Imagine this, Richard. Like, I can just logically demonstrate this for you. Are people having more or less sex now that they have condoms, birth control, vasectomies, would you say?
Oh, yeah, definitely, probably having
And
more
what
sex,
would you
I assume.
correlate higher than sex for STDs? Anything?
Well, you can look at this where you see the military. You look at the military in World War II, the STD rates in our soldiers compared to the military now, it's down a lot. So
because they regulate sex. They regulate.
No.
Yeah. Well, yes, they
soldiers
do.
can have as much sex, even more sex now than
Wait
they
a
did back
second.
then.
Wait a second.
So
let's back up. Let's make sure we got this right. Okay. So if it is the case that we go back to 1945, you say it's a more Christian country then, right? There's less STDs. You agree with me that it is the case that the correlation of STD, the highest one's going to be sexual intercourse. People are having more sexual intercourse, especially since the sexual revolution.
You got to be careful here because to do a correct comparison, you actually need to compare like with like. So there are conditions that change between.
We are Christian, less Christian. Like with like.
No, but I'm just saying that there are other conditions, economic, population size, all these other conditions that can affect the relationship.
What could possibly be
if
more
we
of a
wanna
correlate than penis and vagina? What?
Lots of things.
Well,
Access
for an
to
STD?
sex, access to prostitutes, access to sex, access to other partners, and so on. All
Hang
sorts
on,
of
hang on,
things.
hang on. If we completely,
There are lots of things that can change this. So if you
isn't
wanna,
it? Hang on, Richard.
if you
Isn't
wanna
it the
know
case if we eliminated
if you wanna know if-
sexual intercourse, there would not be STDs no more?
I'm sorry, say that again.
If we eliminated sexual intercourse, nobody's having sex. There are no more STDs, right?
Sure.
Okay, great.
But the problem is that then that creates a greater harm if you're preventing everyone from having sex.
no, I understand.
So
that's not my
evidence-based, human-centered reasoning would
but
deny
that's-
that as
that's
an
not my
irrational
point.
move.
Yeah, that's not my point. My point is that this idea that you have that STDs, right, don't increase even though the population is having
Yeah.
a lot more sex because you're telling the population that it's fine to have a lot more sex because this God
you're
creature.
wrong. You're scientifically wrong. And I can
This god creature.
Man, this guy sounds like an idiot.
He's an idiot. It's like, oh yeah, everything good has happened ever since the revolution was because we denied Christianity. When everybody was fucking Christian, and this revolution was fought under Christian pretense. It was like, yeah, everybody's equal under God, so we shouldn't have like slavery. And we know that it had to do with a bunch of other stuff. Not only that, including state rights and shit. But like, I don't know. It's stupid. It's so dumb. These people, man.
Mm. Excuse me.
It's fine. Wow, it's been a long time since I've had this low of a viewership.
I might have scared off people. My bad.
Nah, it's not you. I've been having like very bad numbers today for some reason. It's like,
Oh,
well, I made
I
like
didn't know you
4
streamed
different
today.
streams, and my streams were really bad today, so probably that's why. I usually am more upbeat and I have like better jokes or something, and I've been like super coping today instead. I've been like really badly coping. Besides, it's like 3 a.m. and even though there's almost nobody on. I don't know.
This is your I hope nobody sees coping session. Got it.
Not even that. I just don't like. I didn't have anything planned for today, and it's like, oh, another pixel art. Fuck these. We don't want to watch that shit.
Am I
So there-
scientifically wrong?
I'll give you an example. There's
Okay.
there's studies of polyamorous couples.
I'm always on
The
UK
rate of
time. Well, only the
STDs
Dave.
The
The
rate
Dave
of
is here
STDs
because
among
he
monogamous
likes-
couples is actually higher than the rate of STDs among polyamorous couples. Polyamorous couples are having way more sex than the monogamous people. Why is their STD rate down? Because they engage in safe sex. So that's the thing. You can't have that kind of correlation. If you're acting like a secular humanist, you're going to act in a rational way, and therefore you're going to evidence-based way. You're going to engage in safe sex, and therefore that's what we should promote. We should be teaching safe sex skills and so forth. So that, and that actually also has
Richard-
been shown when you actually teach people
Richard,
safe sex,
what
they actually
hang
have
on, hang
less
on.
STDs.
Hang on.
so
What
there's less teen
demographic?
pregnancy.
What demographic do you think is the most polyamorous? Would you say homosexuals?
I don't know.
Homosexuals, Richard?
So the relevant metric would be
Richard,
numbers.
is it homosexuals?
So no, you're asking about rate, but if you're talking about raw
What?
numbers,
No, I'm
there
just
are
asking
more,
you, are there more polyamorous people
Yes.
who are yes, thank
There-
you.
no, no,
And
no.
what are the STD
No, no,
rates
no.
of those polyamorous people?
No, you're wrong. There are more heterosexual polyamorous people because by raw
I'm talking
numbers.
about per capita, clearly.
Yeah, by raw numbers. Per capita doesn't make your argument though. By
Yes,
raw
it actually
numbers-
does. What I'm saying is that if you have if it's polyamorous people, you're saying have less STDs. If it is the case that when we look at homosexuals who are the most polyamorous, they have the most STDs. What are you talking about?
But
dude?
you aren't counting the polyamorous, like the actual polyamorous homosexuals, rather than just.
We can literally do it right now. Do you want me to go through and show
you?
you?
Have actual
Yes, of course.
Homosexuals practicing
This is
safe
not.
sex. You have a stat showing homosexuals practicing
Well,
safe
no.
sex.
See, the thing is
It's nearly 10 a.m. there. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well,
I don't
Dave,
know.
you got to spread the word with your UK friends to subscribe to Emmet.
Yeah, you should just tell them like there's a guy that keep calling us the Caliphate of Londonia. They will absolutely love me when they hear that. Dude, I always find like a small shit happening in London. It's just retarded every single time.
I think he's in Scotland.
Yeah, he's in Scotland. Well, he's from London, but he's in Scotland. Yes.
From, but in. Ow.
Because
Compared
they
to
have
not
the
having
most
safe sex.
amount of sex. That's why they have the most amount of STDs.
But the example I gave shows that you can have way more sex
Like
and get less
monkeypox.
STDs. And so if that works in one population,
Actually,
it'll
you
work in
haven't.
every
You haven't
population.
demonstrated that. You just said it.
No,
but the thing.
there's a study you can.
Oh,
find.
there's
You
a study.
can Google
Where?
it.
From who? Let me look at it because that
Absolutely.
is.
So
yeah.
Yeah, where? From who? How?
Anybody can Google it. You just go
No,
look, Google it, try
Emmet.
to
From whom?
Oh,
Whom?
yeah, that's right. Well, you have to understand this is
Whom?
my second language, and I have like
I
literally
understand.
corrected people out of their own language.
I understand. Just the whom makes a bigger. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're correct, K2. I am.
I'm sure Dave would agree with me in chat.
Um, he is not. He is probably in at class. I think he left. was like, fuck this guy's boring.
Find STD rates compared between
And
polyamorous
coping.
and monogamous people. So, like, just as I said in my opening, you don't have to believe what I'm saying. You don't have to believe what he's saying. You can go find this self.
You don't have to believe shit. Listen, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and make a bunch of claims, and then when I'm asked about them, I'm gonna be like, well, you do your own research. Oh, yeah, I'm fucking homosexual then. This guy.
He probably got monkeypox.
Oh man, these guys. I hate people, man. Sometimes I'm gonna come to a debate. Sometimes it's gonna come to a debate and make all this. I'm just gonna do a debate like a fucking atheist would. I'm gonna start the debate and be like, well, uh, this is the position of these that they have to prove that blah blah blah. Blah. And then I'm gonna make a bunch of assertions that I don't have any kind of proof about them, and then you're gonna be like all fucking indignant when I'm asked about them. Oh well. Uh, so I might have a Fabian Liberty debate soon about libertarianism. I
And
don't
how
think
gay
it's
it
gonna
is.
happen. It's extremely gay.
Super.
there's like
Well, to
4
be
or 5
fair,
things.
they're
Mhm.
the only flag, except for like the gays, where the gays take the what flag is that?
The
With
gays
the
took
snake
the
and don't tread on me, and they put the gay stuff on it.
oh the Gadsden.
Yeah, yeah,
Gax.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And they turn it into a gay.
I mean they always do that kind of shit, right? Like fucking gays can do anything. Like they just take shit, make it worse.
Hmm.
They literally took the rainbow, which is supposed to be a symbol of God packed with man, and made it gay.
Yep. Pride's a deadly sin.
Yourself. And so all we're doing is informing you of that. And so you know what to go look for in this. And this is a thing. So it proves that safe sex reduces STDs even with increased sexual activity.
But it,
So the
but it
lesson
doesn't
there-
because if we
the
look at
lesson
the
there is to promote safe sex, right?
Dude, that
Yeah.
It's
dude
not
skipped.
to suppress like
Run the
syncops and-
scales. Go get him. Go get him. Where's the state trooper? Go get him. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not muted.
Like go get him, go get him. Like what am I getting?
Well, that's what they're supposed to do. You're supposed to get the people that are skipping the scale house. Michigan. What? Michigan.
Michigan.
What? Yeah.
Michigan. I am
Probably
thinking
Governor
about.
Whitmer's fault.
I'm waiting for a couple of things to happen so I can start the merch. I want to do the Michigan University hoodie.
I want to buy one.
Yeah, the emu. It's gonna be the emu. In the front, I wanted to say emu, and in the back it has to say Emmet Michigan University.
Yes.
That's my idea, but I do want to make that one. I think that's a very cool idea. And I want to make one with Greenbird that only says Greenbird Gang with like I need to find a way to do like the graffiti and the graffiti lettering, and it's gonna be like Greenbeard Gang, and I think that's gonna be too.
to beat the shit out of you.
Mhm.
Like we don't need Stonewall to get STDs down. We just
Okay.
need to have people who actually act responsibly, and we teach them how to do that, give them the skills and the means and access to that stuff.
Well,
It
let's-
also lowers teen
yeah.
pregnancy. It lowers all the metrics that you're thinking of.
Yeah, let's just make sure that we get this right. I want to get into the argument now so we don't get too derailed. When we start with how do you think it is possible, okay, that if it is the case that there is an invisible being that will punish people for wrongdoing, that they will be more likely to avoid the bad behaviors and promote others to avoid bad behaviors?
We know for a fact that that's not the case. So the statistics show the more Christians are actually, there's Like Christians are 3 times more likely to be teen mothers or single mothers.
What the fuck cares? Because they don't kill the kid.
I don't think they're real Christians.
No, it's because they don't kill them.
Oh yeah, they don't yeah.
Like, I
I'm
understand that it's
sorry,
not the
Emmett.
best
I'm tired.
situation, but
My brain's not at full capacity.
nah, it's okay. I understand what you're saying. I'm also like, I told you this is cope month. We're coping. This is just pure
Correct.
cope at this point.
It's Bill's fault. It's Bill's fault. That's all I'm going with.
It's it's
Bill.
Bill's fault. Yeah, it's true. Where is fucking Kieran? By the way.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see what Kieran's doing.
Okay. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Than atheists. So,
But isn't that
obviously
because
it's not-
atheists are more likely to
obviously it's-
abort their kids?
The Christian help is not.
Oh, he got it. Andrew got it right.
Isn't that why?
No.
No?
There's no
Yes.
evidence of that.
There isn't?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
So, and this is the other thing is like
There's no evidence for that. Oh, okay. If he says that, it must be true. You know?
all the other.
I told
follow-
Kieran because he's trying to practice how to go to somebody's stream and stream that while streaming. I'm like, come over to the Emmett's and practice streaming from somebody else.
Okay. I mean, he could just do it. I don't think it's gonna be a problem.
I don't know. I told him I'm gonna when people are so nobody clips when he embarrasses himself. Don't know how to do it.
I mean, there's not enough gigabytes in the world to document every time he embarrasses himself.
That is a true fact.
country by country, state by state, the more Christian, the more we have STDs and teen pregnancy. So obviously Christianity is not curing the problem. Whereas you look at the more secular states, it's actually being the secular state that is curing the problem. That's why Sweden is so much better off than us on this on
I don't understand why they think. Okay,
these metrics. It's not because of promotion of Christianity, it's by promotion of secular humanist ideals.
Well, Richard, since atheists, it's like 91% of them are pro-choice, right? Why do you think that they would be less likely to get an abortion than people who aren't pro-choice?
So a lot of people say they're pro-choice and then go have an abortion. So you have to actually count who's really doing it, not what they say.
Yeah, I know, but we're just going down to likelihoods here. So do you think that it's more likely that a person who believes and is pro-choice...
You have to go measure it.
I'm
right?
asking you about likelihoods, Richard. Do you think that
I can't
it's...
tell you likelihoods without data.
How can,
you got to have evidence.
logical.
You need evidence.
Logically, do you think it's logically
You need
likely?
Evidence. If you're not reasoning from evidence, we're wasting time here. So
Okay,
you
well
need
then how can you
evidence.
make, if that's the case, then how can you make the claim that one or the other is less or more likely? You can't?
When I have evidence, then
That's
I
it?
decide. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that's how
okay.
you decide
Still,
everything.
I just want to make sure it's
You
just,
need
that's it?
evidence-based reasoning. If you don't have the evidence, you can't make the claim. So
Okay.
You need your positions to be based on the evidence and what actually happens. And so you actually have to go study. You have to actually go count. You can't just sit from the armchair and come up with these ideas. That doesn't work as a method. And that's one of the reasons why the Christian worldview is not best for society. We need a rational worldview that's evidence-based.
Got it.
That actually respects evidence as the fundamental authority, the highest authority.
So studies
that will make society better by all metrics, including
studies
ones we're
showing
talking
that all areas with legal sex work increase human trafficking inflows. Countries with legalized prostitution reported 20 to 30% higher trafficking inflows than those where it's criminalized, according to the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime. STD rates are lower in most Christian majority countries. Isn't that interesting? Driven by wealth and systems rather than faith. I'll give you that point, but it doesn't take away from mine.
Yeah.
If anything, highly
that's why
religious
you have to control.
highly religious
You have to
Christians,
control
hang
for
on,
those other
hang on,
variables.
I'm trying. If anything, highly religious Christian subgroups show the protective effects. STDs are not more prevalent in Christian countries. In fact, the evidence points to the opposite. Christian majority nations, particularly those in Europe and the Americas, generally have lower STD rates than non-Christian majority countries, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, parts of Asia.
Yes, wrong comparisons, right?
Yeah, well, this isn't being a direct comparison to
we need to
secular
talk-
nations, but most of these, there's not any nations which are purely secular.
Secular humanist nations have to be free democratic nations. Otherwise, they're not secular and they're not humanist.
Okay, yeah, but so the Christian nations, the Christian Western nations.
Well, so first of all, you can't include states that aren't free democracies because they have completely different metrics for what's going on. And then secondly, you can't include highly impoverished countries because obviously you have completely different metrics going on there. So what you have to compare
Venezuela
is,
is secular because it's communist.
Venezuela is
Communist,
secular.
not Christian.
I would say Mexico, secular country. Like there's like a lot of countries
Well,
that you can consider to be secular.
I typed something. I typed something in your chat. I don't know if I can say it, but I heard some Mexican Gen Z people didn't just stop at the palace. I heard they took on a certain country's embassy that starts with an I. And is it possibly going to be 117? If I'm correct, I'm not trying. 'Cause it's just you and me.
Let's see. I know what you're talking about. Oh, what?
And in other news,
Mexico's more based in America? What? What?
We're gonna watch these. We're not gonna actually watch it, but we're gonna listen to what she has to say.
Israel protesters set ablaze the Israeli embassy in Mexico City in a violent display. This comes after Mexico announced it filed a declaration of intervention against Israel at the International Court of Justice. All the details in the following report. Protesters in Mexico have set fire to the Israeli embassy in Mexico City as clashes broke out between anti-Israel protesters and police. Video shows the embassy ablaze, and multiple reports indicated that at least 6 people were injured in the fire. The incident took place as around 200 people gathered for an urgent action for Rafah protest outside the embassy. Some of the rioters, masked demonstrators, threw stones at the police and broke down police barricades. The riots come just one day after the International Court of Justice announced that Mexico invoked Article 63 of the Statute of the Court and filed a declaration of intervention in South Africa's genocide case against Israel. In the declaration, Mexico said it seeks to intervene to provide its view on the potential construction of the content of the provisions of the convention relevant to the case.
I mean, these are a bunch of these are a bunch of lefties. You understand that, right?
I understand that, but so was a certain. Technically, socialism is a lefty thing, and so does a socialist country did the same thing.
Yeah, they're a bunch of lefties.
I'm just saying
Dylan.
they follow the same pattern, but now it seems like the right and the left are disgusted.
Well, everybody dislikes the tiny cats. Okay, they just don't they just don't like him for some
I'm
reason.
just saying now you're getting the right to join the left on hating them too. Just throwing it out there.
Well, they vote. Dude, 73% of oh my god, Kieran left. 73%, 73% of them voted for Kamala Harris.
I know.
33% of them voted for an actual Hamas supporter in New York. 33%. And the other 66 voted for Cuomo, which is a dem.
Yeah,
Like,
but I'd
why
rather
in the-
vote for
why in the-
Cuomo. I would have
why-
rather voted for Cuomo over a communist. To be
Yeah,
fair.
I understand that. But why in the fuck? Why in the hell do we even care about it? they're stupid. They're I don't know the amount of
I know.
inbreeding that's going on, but apparently it's a lot. Okay, comes.
I think it's just George Soros pushing money and then importing people where they don't check voter IDs.
I mean, I don't know. I think the Jews are able to get their 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 ID, well, and they're
Allegedly. I'm sorry, I forgot to put allegedly in there.
I never embarrassed myself. You never do, Mr. Bill. You're a G1.
So I just want to make
I
sure.
think Kieran.
I think we're coming to the point of the debate where we can start to have a real good argument here.
I think he's trying, but
I
his thing
heard
ain't
you
going
say
well.
that you think that
I think
you can
Kieran
get odds
got,
from
like,
ISIS. Is
completely.
that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, can you tell me how?
Yes. So if a surgeon wants to save the life of a patient, he ought to sterilize his instruments. And this can be scientifically proven as true. You can prove scientifically that the desire exists, and you can prove scientifically that the prescribed action will actually satisfy the desire. And in fact, that's called a hypothetical imperative. Philippa Foot has argued for, like, first of all, even Immanuel Kant agreed
Did you say
hypothetical
Philip
imperatives
up
can be
his
proven
foot?
scientifically. They're
Yeah.
empirical facts.
So you think
and
Hume?
Philippa Foot argues that all morality is just hypothetical imperatives.
So you think Hume is wrong?
Well, Hume didn't say the thing that I think he said. So do you want me to go over that?
Yeah, Hume is saying mere is.
Say it again.
Mere is. A mere is.
I'm not understanding.
Well,
either.
so what you're doing is you're taking things that are hypothetically loaded with oughts already. And that's the problem.
No.
Hang on. Yeah, hang on. Let me make the case. You are. Yeah, what Hume is talking about a mere is. So like the door is cold. How do I get an ought from that?
Yeah, so Hume said that he didn't say that you can't derive an ought from an is. What he said was that religious people, Christians, were not doing that they were just ordering things. They were not demonstrating that the ought comes from the is. And that's what Kant actually did, is he showed that hypothetical imperatives, you can do that, and you are doing that. So the ought comes from the is. The is what is your desire?
Again, I'm going to ask you the question. The door,
what best achieves the
the
desire?
door is cold. How do I get an ought from that?
Well, that particularly, you're missing half of the question. So, like, you would have to know what is the desire that relates to that. And then you have to rationally order the
No, it's
desires.
because that's a mere is. It's a mere is
Yeah,
statement.
but you can't derive an imperative without referring to a
That's
goal.
because it's a mere is.
No, that's... Well, yeah,
No,
yes.
it's because it's a mere is.
Yes, but
You're
it has
hang
nothing
on,
to
you
do-
got this
imperative-
wrong.
Look, imperative propositions
Yeah.
Here and
are
come back.
built out of two facts.
You can blame
two
it
actual
all
objective
on
facts.
me.
A goal.
Yeah, Kieran got in and was like, "Nope, I'm not gonna go ahead and nuke my channel like that." Which I get it.
He does it himself.
Maybe, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Kieran, come back.
Have you seen Caleb Hammer?
The name sounds familiar.
He has a show that's called Financial Audit. Financial Audit. I don't know what to say. Thank God fucking Doomer and E-Word are not here, because they were, or SS, sorry, not them. Smoking Spaceman, thank God he's not here, because he will be making fun of my accent for
dude.
saying that.
Oh, 1000%.
Goal and a means to the goal. So just describing a doorknob
You know
isn't
what?
describing
Keep
a goal. So you
Smoky
can't get at
Spaceman
imperative
alive.
Because it's a mere is.
Emmett,
And
your
it's therefore
accent.
irrelevant.
Oh,
No, it's
God.
therefore the most relevant.
No,
if
you
you
have
have
to-
a mere is
You
statement.
can't get imperatives without goals.
Yes, that's
So
what
you have
Hume
to
is
say-
saying.
Exactly.
Hume is applying this to a mere
Yeah.
is. Why are you saying exactly? You just disagreed with me 5 seconds
No, he
ago.
agrees with me on this.
No, he
agrees-
didn't agree with you on this. He's talking about a mere
You're
is.
skipping the goal. This makes no sense. No, Hume was saying that once you have, and that's why he actually developed his moral system based on human sentiment. So it's based on what you want, and therefore in the rational ordering of desires. You have to have the goal.
What is Hume's guillotine?
Goal plus the facts equals imperatives,
Yeah.
and that's how you get
That sounds
hypothetical.
like
What is
hope.
Hume's guillotine?
Say again?
What is Hume's guillotine?
What is Hume's
Hume's guillotine.
guillotine?
Yes.
Are you talking about this, the thing we're talking about right now?
I'm asking you what Hume's guillotine is.
Well, you describe it.
You can just say you don't know.
Sure, go ahead.
Oh, so you don't know.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
I don't
okay.
remember. I've heard of it, but
Yeah.
I can't remember.
For
Unless
as
it's the
this
same
ought
thing.
or ought not expresses some new relation or
Yeah, it's the same thing,
affirmation,
right,
it
yeah.
is necessary that it should be observed and explained, and at the same time that a reason should.
Well, you tell me, 'cause I don't know. Oh, wait, I did know. This fucking idiot. I don't know why people think that make you look good. That makes you look like an idiot. Every single time it's like, oh yeah, I knew it all along. No, you didn't.
Should
That's
be given.
cope.
Yeah, it's fucking cope.
For what seems altogether inconceivable, how this new relation can be a deduction from others which are entirely different from it. He's referencing a mere is.
Yeah, and then he goes on to explain that the mere is, once you get a goal as the is, then you actually get the result.
Well, that's because the goal is the ought. You're conflating. So this is the problem that you're conflating here.
Well, you're talking about values versus ought.
Well,
ought derives from values. They're not identical, right? Like you have a value.
So you wait.
What you ought to do can depend on your value.
So
They're
how
not
are we getting the
identical.
ought from the is here?
So oughts come out of the combination of two things: a goal, you call it values, and the means. Right. So like
goal's your
whatever the
mom.
facts are in terms of what best achieves that goal is then the true ought regarding that. So you have to have the goal. And so the question is, how do you get moral goals?
But that's already loaded with ought.
No.
Yes.
You're starting with values.
What do you think ought?
Values don't have oughts.
Richard,
in them.
what do you
have
think
a
ought means here?
Just a value by itself
Yeah.
is like a doorknob. It doesn't entail anything. The value by itself, in conjunction with the facts of the world, then derives the ought. So they're not identical. The ought is a derivation of two facts.
Yeah, but the is not giving you that ought. Some
Two ises.
other
The
category
goal,
is.
The goal is a fact. It's an is, and the means is an actual fact as well. So you have two facts.
Wait.
But you have to have both facts. This is like
Help me.
another
Hang
basic
on.
step.
No. You got to help me out with this one. I guess I'm a little slow. How could it be the case that if you have a goal, right? I have a goal, right?
Yeah.
Ought you do that goal?
Yeah. Say again.
Ought you do that goal?
Okay, now that's you can't answer that question just by itself. Just with the value, you can't answer that question. You need the facts. So that gets to rational ordering of values, and this is another thing that Hume talks about. Is that
So
when
then
you-
the is statement here,
Yeah,
right,
which-
is again moving back
you're
to a
asking
mere
question
is.
like which value should you have?
Yeah.
Right. But if we set that aside for a moment,
Yeah.
as soon as you have a value, then there are true ought statements that derive from that value.
How did you get the value? That's what the whole point is. It's like, well, once you have the moral thing, then you can get the morals.
You get your morals from your religion most of the time.
Yeah, I agree with you, but it's fuck on, man. I am cope.
Now, the question is, what is the rational order?
No, there's not true ought statements that derive
Yeah,
from.
so like as soon as the doctor wants to save the patient, he ought to sterilize his instruments. The ought immediately follows from the
Yeah, but do
combination.
you see you already entailed the ought in the is?
No.
The doctors wants to do X.
I think you're doing a semantic thing here. Like
It is, semantics are
the
important when
ought-
we're about to talk about what we ought to do with society.
The ought is a combination of two facts, and you keep confusing the ought with one of those facts.
No, I'm saying that what you are doing here is you're preloading, right? You're taking a
No,
statement.
it
Yes,
derives
you
from
are.
two facts, neither of which is an ought.
No.
Now, if you want to get to
it's
like
a mere,
order-
it's a mere is.
What-
You're actually.
what
You're,
I
I
think
can
I-
actually demonstrate this for you.
What I think, let me see if I get this right as to what you're trying to get at. Is you don't object to the fact that oughts can derive from an is once you accept the goal. What you're asking is, how do we decide which goals we ought to have?
No, let's back up.
Okay.
Okay, so
it-
let's start with this.
Which is the two things?
Yeah,
which of
how
those
do
two
you get
things?
when you say, right, a doctor, he's going to save a patient, right?
He wants to
He
save a
wants to
patient.
save a patient, right? Well, that's already the ought, right?
No, it's not.
Yes. Why does he want to save him then?
So no.
Why he thinks it's an ought, right?
An ought actually has to have two pieces. So it's
Oh
this
my
is a semantic
God.
fact about what the
Okay, the question becomes: ought a doctor save a patient? That's the question, right? At that point.
No, let's kill him and take his organs and give him
Yeah.
that.
Gee.
He's an organ donor.
You know what I would do is like, my question would be like, what if it's a fetus?
Well, they do that to organ donors too.
Yeah, true. But like, I would actually say that, right? If this person is like, no, do that, I would be like, what if it's a fetus? And they would be like, I think that would make him short circuit because he wouldn't know what the fuck he says. Like, oh well, but the mother.
Word, what imperative language requires. It requires value, a goal, and the facts, and you derive so the ought is sterilize the instruments. The ought is not want to save the patient. It could be, but once you accept, you just for whatever reason we haven't justified why.
Why are you even sterilizing the fucking instruments if you don't want to save the patient?
Because you want to kill the germs.
What the fuck is what the fuck is this guy saying? He's such stupid.
He kind of dumb.
He retarded. I understand.
The doctor wants to do this, or that he should do this, or that. Once he has the desire to do this, an ought is automatically.
Do you see, like
the face banner is like, what the fuck am I listening to?
if you said, I don't know, all Christians, right? They should go to church. Or you just say, like, I'm a Christian, and so the ought there is you must go to church. That's even better. The ought there is you must go to church because that's entailed with Christianity. You can't be a Christian if you're not going to church. Can't save the patient unless you're using the instrument. Hang on.
I don't think that's true.
You can't save
Lots of Christians don't believe you have to go to church.
Yeah, but
to
let's
be a
just say
Christian.
that was the agreement of what the definition of a Christian is. Okay, is that you have to go to church or you can't be a real Christian, right? You're
Sure,
saying
let's
so
assume
you
everybody agrees
So
to
you
that.
ought go to church based on that is, right?
Yeah, but notice.
But no.
The ought is not identical to the is. The ought is derived
No,
from two
you're
different
loading
ises.
this to something past
you're
mere is.
conflating the
No.
the value with the ought. So the ought is
Okay.
sterilize the instruments. The value is wanting to
No,
save
that's
the
a
patient.
you're
Wanting to save the
mistaken. You're
patient is
mistaken
not
here with a
sterilizing
mere
instruments.
is.
Sterilizing instruments is the ought, not the wanting to save the patient.
No, there's no ought entailed there unless it's a mere is. Otherwise, you already
No,
are
it
giving
is
the
entailed.
ought.
The ought, sterilize instruments, is logically necessarily entailed by the value to the desire. The desire is to save the
Because there's already an ought.
No, there
Yes.
doesn't have to be.
Yes.
So I think
Although it's a mere is statement.
It does no, it doesn't have to. It just doesn't have to.
Is what we're looking at.
No,
I mean,
no.
I can demonstrate this for you a million
that's why
times.
I was trying to ask if you wanted to get at two different questions here. It sounds like you're confusing the two.
I'm not
questions.
confusing it.
Yeah, you're definitely confusing.
I'm
it
definitely
because
not.
You keep switching between two arguments.
No, I'm switching.
So
I'm only using
it sounds
one.
like you want to have the ought for the why ought the doctor want to save the patient? That's a different imperative. That's a different ought statement from what the doctor should do once he does desire.
Because you're already loading the ought in it.
No, there's no ought
Yes.
in there. It's just the desire.
It's a mere look.
All
what
it is a
what
desire.
Hume's,
It's not an ought. A
what
desire
Hume's
is not an
guillotine is
ought.
talking about is mere is statement. The door is
Yeah, I think-
cold.
yeah,
the door
I
is cold. You
definitely
can't get an
think-
ought from that, right?
I think you're obfuscating here, and I think
I don't think I'm
So
obfuscating.
would you give me a moment to explain that?
Yeah.
So I can actually.
You're just
the audience can hear
obfuscating.
this. So-
Okay.
I want to give you a chance as well, but then
Yeah.
in just a bit, because we've gone on with this topic for a decent amount of time, I do want to make sure there are other topics explored if
Okay,
you guys are
yeah.
up for it.
What's our time left on the conversation?
37 minutes in total.
Okay. Remaining. Yeah. Okay, so when you construct an ought, the ought is the thing you ought to do. So the sterilizing instruments, that's the ought. You ought to sterilize your instruments. The value by itself might
God,
not
I
be an ought at
feel
all. It might not
dumber.
even be true that the doctor ought.
He's so stupid, dude. I can't believe that this guy is a supposed doctor. Like, I can't even.
Well, it shows you what people like how Dave said people can read and do, and then when they try to implement that into the real world, they can't.
To sterilize the
Basically,
Yeah, I get it. It's
that he ought to want to save the patient. Maybe he ought not to want to save the patient, but he wants to save the patient anyway. The possession of the desire, even if it's not
this is the worst
justified,
debate I've seen.
just the possession of the desire
Like,
entails an ought.
not by Andrew,
The ought
but
is
the
sterilizing
opponent.
the instruments.
Like,
So it's
this is
different
the
from
worst
the value.
debate
So you can't
opponent.
conflate those two things. Now, if you want to ask
He's
a
just
different
trying to do
question as to
Christians
why
suck.
ought the doctor want to save the patient, now we're moving to a different ought. We're moving one step back, and then we get to the whole point of Hume about rational ordering of values. And I talk about this again, for people who want to go further into this, if you're not following or it's confusing or whatever, if you want to know more about this and my full demonstration is in the article in Religions that I cited in the thing. And you can find It's moral facts exist in all possible universes. You can Google that and find it.
Moral facts exist in all possible universe. Oh my god.
That sounds like code.
It sounds horrible.
It's free. It's not paywalled. And so you can read that and you can see
Yeah.
how actually
Look, you
philosophers
can't
construct
eat
this.
all the time with endless
that's it. I've
with
said
endless
what I wanted to
diatribes.
say
So
there.
the
So-
reason here's what's going on. We're trying to untangle a concept. We're both making an ought claim. I'm making the ought claim that I think Christianity is better for society. He's saying secular humanism is. And so what we're doing is we're untangling the philosophy behind that. Is whether or not an ought's a mere is or not, he doesn't believe that it is. And so that's the point. This is why semantics and untangling these things is so
oughts
important.
derive from is all the time, including the oughts we're discussing here.
Mere
I even
is.
explained the desires and why people ought to have those desires.
But it's for a mere is.
So-
But
me,
here's the
guys.
thing. Diving into this, I guess, kind of getting back to the idea of Christian nationalism. If it's the case that in this democracy we go ahead and vote in Christian nationalism, what's the problem with that?
So once you allow that to happen, this is exactly the thing that the founders wanted to prevent. They have all of that stuff in there to prevent exactly what you're describing. That's why they have no religious test. That's why they have the First Amendment. There's various other things that actually designed to prevent ideological capture of the government. The government has to serve evidence and reason and just maintain a civil society and not dictate what moral values people should live by.
That's
As
not
long
answering
as-
my question, though. I'm
that's-
asking you if
Yeah, it's a moral question, right? If we do it through the democratic system, what is the problem? I guess this guy is an OF 304 because that's the only type of person under debate. So Paige, you're grounded. Okay, you're not supposed to be funny. I'm making the claim too much caffeine makes it hard to sleep. A good claim.
Somebody
if
clip
under
that.
this democracy
Yeah,
we're voting.
Paige was funny.
Yeah, somebody clip that. The
Paige, I
Paige is
expect you to
grounded.
clip that. And then you post it into Abe's Funny Bones.
Paige, you're grounded. You're not supposed to be funny.
in
Yeah,
Christian
yeah, I'm getting it.
nationalism, what's the problem with it?
Yeah, fair point. So yeah, I'm getting to that. So what would be bad? Or all the things that I described before. We're going to have...
Now, what would be bad, ultimately, under democracy, the system itself is set so that we can do this, right? If people think it's in their own best interests
Well,
to
it's-
vote
it's-
based on their Christianity, you shouldn't
as
have a
long as
problem
we-
with that, right?
As long as we follow
Oopsie, did it again. Play with your heart.
the law. Yeah, the way the Constitution is written, it should
Oops,
prevent
I
this. But if we ignore the
did it
Constitution, burn it
again.
down, then yeah, you could have an ideological capture of the government.
Yeah.
But we're not supposed to have that.
Well,
that's
wait.
Once you allow someone to capture the government, then you immediately allow someone else to capture the government.
How would this
So-
be capturing the government? You want people to vote based on their value structures, right?
Well, as long as they're voting in the same interests of the goal of the
That
government.
you want, right?
That they would want, even a rationally ordered
Well, hang
person
on. If
would want this.
entailed here is that they don't
Here-
want
oh yeah,
that.
let me finish that my explanation to that. So,
Uh-huh.
if you allow a government to
Mhm.
just people to just vote for what ideology the government can push, then it's a matter of time only that someone gets in and pushes the ideology you don't like and forces you to do things like prevents us from having this meeting, for example, and shuts this down, like maybe would happen in China, for instance. As soon as you allow that to happen, you will lose control of the government and bad things will happen as a result. That's how we get fascism and all.
Bro has a PhD in the sluttery. Yeah. Then
don't
Paige pretends to be
know.
funny. If she was really funny, she would be replacing comedian male like Larry the Cable Guy. True. The
Gotta
guys.
get it done.
I have never seen somebody be so bad at debate in my life. This
Get it
guy
done.
is the worst I've ever seen. Like
Gotta get it done.
tomfoolery
Sorry.
is like 10 times better than this guy, and tomfoolery is an idiot.
All that stuff.
Yeah, but do you
But-
see how you're not answering to
But
this?
the goal then
here's-
is therefore to prevent that.
here's
So
what
you
I'm
have to
asking
You have
again.
to structure the government so
Wait.
that you have the government's neutrality. It treats everyone the same,
Yeah.
and you build it so that it cannot.
Richard, can
do
you answer
anything
to the
else.
question? If it's the case in democracy, people vote in Christian nationalism. How can you make the claim they don't want it? And if it's the case that we're after human flourishing, hang on, if it's the case that we're after human flourishing, isn't that, I mean, what you're basing this on is like, we should stop them from doing that, right?
Well, so as long as they're following the Constitution that was built to prevent that, right, then that's not going to happen, right?
Well, you can vote in people to get rid of parts of the Constitution you don't like.
But changing the Constitution requires more than a majority vote. So, yeah, what would happen? Here's what would happen.
Back up.
If we got
people can vote in politicians, right, who can then do things which would change the Constitution, or there could be a constitutional convention.
You know how the Constitution? Yeah, like it's a lot harder to get a constitutional amendment change. So let's assume you've got a society that's so.
And it depends on how the Supreme Court rules.
Let's assume you've got such a let's say it's 75% of the country now is Christian nationalists, and they actually get the legislatures they want. They actually in all the states and everything, and they get the Constitution changed. What my proposition would say is that's when things are going to go south. That is actually going to go against human interests because of all the past examples of this happened before.
Yeah, so you want to stop them from doing that, right?
I would want to stop them from doing that.
Would you use force and persuasion to do that?
Only if they are breaking the law. If they
okay, but they change the law to their preference.
Yeah, I think in that case, if that happened, if the country actually...
In that case, yes, I would. Ah, man, this guy's so dumb. Andrew, you see how you're an idiot sandwich, right upon and sure, but let me help you forget about that with this filibuster. This reminds me of when I say you're gonna force you to go to church. We're gonna just force you to go to church, and they're like, I will rise up. I will use force. Like, okay,
wait a minute. You sounded like Yoda there.
Oh, I sounded like Yoda?
Yeah.
Force will be using.
Exactly.
Actually voted to destroy itself, I would have to.
Somebody clip that.
Okay, so I just want to make sure though. Would you use force rather than persuasion in that case to stop that from happening?
Only if they use force against me. If they're using force, then I'll use force. But if we had the whole country literally just decided this. To basically just
it's not the whole country.
Destroy the country.
That's not how it works. That's not how it works.
I would actually have to leave, and if they tried chasing me,
we have. Oh no, we have to. Fuck idiot.
And finding me.
Well, they're not trying to chase you and find you.
I'm gonna go to China. I'm gonna go to China. China's gonna be so good to me.
I don't think China's very religious. They're secular, aren't they? Are supposed to be.
I'm gonna go to the grand state of China. They're gonna help me.
I know a secular country for sure. North Korea.
North Korea is one of them. Yeah, it's gonna go to North Korea. I'm gonna go to North Korea.
The spirit of the question is asking you. I'm asking you a simple question.
Force is met with force.
Yeah, I'm not asking you about force being met with force. I'm asking you if force should be used to prevent this if necessary. So, like, let's say, for instance, I don't know, 60% of the nation wanted it, and the rest of them didn't. Should they, at that point, be using force rather than persuasion?
So, if they did it, like they actually did it, then I would just have to leave. Because if they're not
You're not answering the question, dude.
Unless they start using force against me. Like if they come for me to like kill all the atheists, well now I have to fight them.
I'm asking you if it's the case that force should be used by people who are in a minority, if the majority is voting in these policies, yes or no?
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Should people, if necessary, use force, even if it's the case that these are being voted in legitimately? Right? Is there some problem with people using force at that point to stop it?
Well, I think at that point, it is the wrong word here. So, like, what then happens? So once they turn around, once they've done it, and they turn around and start using force on us.
Well,
like,
what force?
To go kill all the atheists? Or
no, they're not. No. They could just do things like, I don't know, no more gay marriage.
By the time, look at the French Revolution. By the time they get in there, you won't have control of what they decide at that point.
But
they
you can't
decide to go kill all the atheists.
But what I'm saying is that is it the case that you would, if you had X amount of like people in a minority, they felt that they were being oppressed. They just weren't being oppressed with violence necessarily, unless it was a case they were then breaking laws
At some
new
point,
laws.
it has to be violence. There has to be violence, right? And so if you're
Well, then
doing-
that would be the case with anything. If you
'cause
just violate any law, there's
if-
violence.
If you take away all the rights but then never enforce that,
Yeah.
then you're basically just respecting rights.
I totally
so
agree.
If you take away all the rights and then enforce that, you're using violence to take away people's
Yeah, but I mean,
rights.
this could be phrased however you want. There's a right for men and women to get married. That's it.
A right?
Yeah, you just say there's a right for men and women to get married. Now we're enforcing that right, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then homosexuals get married. They say, oh, well, and you're not allowed to do that. You're violating the law.
Well, so I'm pretty sure if you want to follow the logic on that, I agree with the conservative Supreme Court decision written by Neil Gorsuch and concurred by Roberts on why actually that it follows out of the Civil Rights Act, that it would be against that. So you would have to overthrow the Civil Rights Act. Okay.
Or
so
just have it
suppose you do-
reinterpreted or amended.
Yeah.
You could
right.
have things
Yeah,
amended,
right, correct.
things
Yeah,
like
you
this.
could
Well, what I'm saying is that
amend
these
it,
are
whatever.
all, if you,
Yeah.
this was done in a lawful way, right, to get these things done.
Which it was, right? So
Yeah, and but if it's done in a lawful way to get them undone, right,
Yeah.
is that now fascism?
What do you, yeah, no. So
Yes or no?
fascism.
Yeah or
comes-
no?
So if it's done in that way,
Yeah.
the process is not fascist. The end result might be if they start coming after you with billy clubs to like arrest.
It's fucking people, dude.
I'll come
Fucking
at him
people.
with the Billy Club.
Yeah, it's like, oh well, the thing, it's not actually in a constitutional way. Yes, in a constitutional way. So if you actually go ahead and make a change on the constitution in accordance to what the constitution says you can do to make a change on the constitution, that will be a constitutional way of amending the constitution, right? Like,
I don't know, Emmett. It's your accent. What?
what did I say?
Oh, that
It
was
would-
for Smoking Spaceman. He would have liked that.
Fucking spaceman.
Gay people, for example.
Well, they're not going to arrest them, but what if they just don't let them get married?
But if they just
what
don't
if
let them
they?
get- no, yeah,
hang,
so
hang on,
they
hang on, Richard. Let
would-
me ask the question.
They would in the
So
Middle
let's say, for
East,
instance,
would
they go
arrest them.
through.
Yeah.
They outlaw OnlyFans, prostitution, things like this. Make that law. They outlaw homosexual marriage. Make that law. Right? They outlaw things like transgender kids getting reassignment surgery, and they make that a law.
Sure.
All right? People violate those laws. They then get arrested or things like this, like you would for any other law. Is that now, are we in fascist territory?
No, because at that point, the people are actually having a say, and they're just using the lawful, nonviolent process to decide what rights they're going to have.
Perfect.
Now, we would engage in persuasion, right? And so I would think that that's going to be bad. It's going to lead to bad outcomes.
Now then, tell
But we
me
can talk
any
about
of the current
actual basis.
This
of
is perfect.
evidence. So this is why secular.
Now we're getting there.
humanism is
So,
about evidence.
so help me out here. What Christian nationalist proposition then fits this form of fascism? Use of force rather than persuasion, democracy.
Yeah.
Which one? Which actual proposition being
So-
proposed by Christian nationalists right now?
It sounds like
fits that.
you're defining Christian nationalism as simply taking away the rights of gay people to marry. It
No,
sounds
no, no,
like
no,
that's
no.
all you
I'm
mean.
asking you a specific question. I'm going to ask it again. What proposition from anybody who's advocating Christian nationalism would not fall under the idea that they're changing the laws to better suit themselves, including amending several constitutional amendments or things like this? How would that be fascism? By your definition, that's not fascism now.
Right.
So if that's the case,
It only becomes fascism when violence comes up.
oh, yeah, right, exactly. So Christian nationalism is not, in fact, unless you can give me the propositions of Christian nationalism that are going to lead to this sort of violence rather than just law changing, can you?
So are you claiming that Christian nationalism won't increase?
I didn't claim anything. I asked you a question. Can you steel man what? Or at
Yeah,
least
to understand your
repeat back.
question, I got to understand what you're getting at. So I need. To
You know, you
understand-
don't. You don't need to understand what I'm getting at to understand my question. You
Yeah,
just need
'cause
to answer the
I don't
question.
know what you're asking for.
Well, let me
So-
ask you again.
Yeah.
Christians right now, Christian nationalist thought leaders all over the place who are saying we want to amend these various laws under the democratic rules, use the Constitution in order to amend many of these laws, right? And then if you
And
violate
you have
those
the
laws...
protected right to do that, to talk about
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
and
yeah. So hang
persuade-
on, so hang
we
on.
have the protected right to persuade people to
I
not
understand,
vote
but
that
what I'm
way?
Oh my god. Now it's now it's a protector. This was like really contradictory. Fucking debate is really bad. The debate is just contradiction after contradiction, and then it's like, yeah, we agree. No, we disagree. This feels like vibe. Vibe would debate like this.
I feel like
Like vibe.
yes.
I'm saying to you is, how could that be fascism if there's
It is what? It is fascism because it's done with a specific god as the base of the rule, and some god don't believe in the
Everything.
orthodoxy. Like, what?
If you don't agree with what I'm saying, you are a fascist.
What the
That's
fuck?
how they use that.
What the fuck does that have to do with fascism? Fatty?
What I said?
No,
Oh.
this guy's Uncle Fatty. I think it's not the Fatty, it's another Fatty. Says it is fascism because it's done with a specific god as the base of the rule. And some gods don't believe in the orthodoxy. Like your whole statement is retarded. I'm sorry to let you know.
no use of force being involved here?
So-
if the can you show me the Christian nationalist proposition that leads to force?
If you're talking about the Christian nationalist government is not going to use force to enforce any laws or do anything.
Your secular government will.
Yes, but those are evidence-based, human-centered things. They're not based on ideology.
That's not what you said. You said fascism is use of force rather than persuasion democracy. It doesn't matter if they're using evidence or not. Hang on.
Persuasion and democracy,
They're utilizing persuasion and democracy.
Right.
And they're still utilizing persuasion and democracy.
Yes.
So they're not fascist, right?
Well, they're not advocating.
It's about the first 16 words of the First Amendment. Who cares? We can just go ahead and change it. In a constitutional way.
I mean, they might be advocating for a fascist government, but they're not fascists yet because
No. That's not what.
Besides, you don't fucking care about the First Amendment anyway. Or the second, or the third, or the fourth, or the fifth. You don't care about you don't care about the whole Constitution at all. You only care about the thing that you care for. It's always your preference, okay? You don't give a shit. So
I'm asking.
The violence.
Monkeypox.
Yeah.
This is wild to me. So help me out here again. If it's the case that democratically, for instance, we just say no more trans, right? You're just not allowed to be trans anymore, right? Or I don't know, you're not allowed to get married as a homosexual anymore, and you're not allowed to do prostitution anymore. Let's just say that you're like not allowed to gamble or do drugs anymore ever. Right? You're not allowed to do any of those things.
Yep.
That's passed democratically through persuasion.
Yeah.
Now it has the force of law.
That's right.
That's no longer fascism.
That by itself is not fascism.
Then can you give me any Christian propositions?
If you can persuade people to vote again to take those things away and change them, yes.
Then show me the Christian nationalists out there who are giving the proposition which would lead to this fascism you're talking about, because that's all they're talking about doing.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly what you have in mind as Christian.
Force is not always physical. Psychological warfare is warfare. First things were in the foundation of the doctrine, in which all else is built. No, the foundation of the of the document itself is a Declaration of Independence. By the way, so can be amended. By the way, it's part of the way that it was created. And force is not always physical. Psychological warfare. Oh my God. What? Are they gonna try to convince people that they are correct? Oh my God. No, not the horror of trying to convince people. It's not like you are doing that right now. Are you? You're trying to use psychological warfare against me, fatty? Oh no.
Nationalism, like what the Christian nationalist government.
That's
would
not my
do.
question. My question is, can you name a single Christian nationalist right now who is proposing anything other than just amending laws and tailoring them to their own preferences?
Wait, so like, let me see if I understand what you're asking. So you're asking if, so like, for example, the Kill the Gays people, for instance.
When there's no Christian nationalist seriously proposing to kill homosexuals. None.
Yes, absolutely.
Who?
So there was a guy who ran in Texas, had got like 100,000 votes on the Kill the Gays biblical policy concept. So
come on, this is not serious. There's no serious political movement for this.
The ones who couldn't get elected here went to Uganda and got it done there, and actually got Uganda to actually start trying to kill the gays. And then of course,
I don't think Uganda needed much help with that, right? But the thing is like pointing this out again when we're talking about the proposition here. I can't actually think of a serious Republican, a serious person in office, or a serious Christian nationalist who has any sort of following which could actually have anything get done like this, who's proposing anything other than amending laws, having them enforced to suit their preferences, just like you. Hang on, just like you are. You can't call that fascism then, by your own definition.
So it depends on like what. So that's why I'm just not even clear on what you think that Christian nationalists are going to do when they take over. So like,
I'm asking you, which Christian nationalist has a serious proposition for utilizing force other than democracy and persuasion, which is what you're considering fascism to be. You said all of them are fascist right in your opening statement. Can you give me the proposals that they're making?
The opening statement. Yeah. So the Christian nationalist idea of destroying the Constitution, right?
Oh my God.
I don't believe that.
It's pure two clock. It's so dumb. And they're gonna be like, "You want to do the thing?" They've been doing this for years. What can you tell me where was this incredible amendment where we're actually allowed to kill like 60 million babies, about 1 million a year? Huh? That was supposed to be there
Abortion.
in the Constitution somewhere. Where was it?
Abortion.
Oh, it was never there.
Abortion.
Yeah.
Is the answer abortion?
Mm-hmm. But where was what was the amendment that allowed you to do it? That was supposed to interpreted by the Supreme Court? Oh, nowhere. Oh, they still did it. Oh, nobody give a shit about it. Oh, I see. But you have to be better. No, fuck. Oh God, I, an idiot. It's pure stupidity. That's what it is.
Of actually taking away these.
Is it my? Is it? Is it me or this guy is like really short?
Checks and balances that actually, for instance, taking away democracy, for instance, taking away the women's right to vote, for instance. So these things.
Wait. If you take away.
Joe Maggio with the Defense League is calling for right-wing violence.
I'll show you right-wing violence.
Do you realize that if there was an actual movement for the right wing to be violent, you would know it? It will actually be, you would actually know it? Okay? Right wingers are the most armed persons in the United States. I can tell you, everybody would know it.
Women's rights to vote via persuasion and democracy, that's not.
Quite literally, the whole point of this is saying, hey, we can actually go ahead and elect politicians and have faith in that we can change the way of governance through a democratic process. That's literally what we've been saying. Oh, hey, this guy. I okay, it's fine. It's fine.
Fascism.
No, by the time you get to that, right, by the time you're actually taking away a right that is necessary for a well-functioning government, now you're actually involved
It's
in
not
fascism.
necessary for a well-functioning government.
You're limiting the power. You're actually putting the power in men. So now men control the government. So yeah, that would actually start to be trending.
Wait, hang on. Well, okay, so I mean, then 18-year-olds control the government, and 17-year-olds don't. They're disenfranchised.
So if now you're talking about why do we enfranchise?
No, I'm
people
pointing
at a certain
out. I'm
age?
pointing out something important here.
Yeah,
This is
you're
still
changing the subject,
No,
but-
I'm going to stay on the subject. Use of force
So-
rather than persuasion, democracy. I still haven't heard a single Christian nationalist thought leader that you can name who has any sort of serious following, any sort of political following, has any sort of moxie that
100,000
can get
votes
this
sounds
done.
like a big following, but yeah. So I think like this is a thing that people can test.
Like the 7 churches within 50 miles of me labeled as right-wing hate groups in the name of their version of Jesus. Yeah, they don't count. 7 churches? You know what? I will need you to actually give me a citation for that, because I don't believe you. Okay? The easiest way of getting a meal in the United States is to go to a church, by the way. If you actually don't have any fucking money,
No.
the easiest way that you can get a meal in the
No.
United States is just go to a church, and I can tell you, you're probably
I
gonna
need
get
my
fed.
food stamps.
Ah, yeah, you need your. Oh, I mean, fatty. Oh, it's that. Oh, I see what you mean. You just. It's one of those 7 churches, the Snap, the Snap Church.
And go see
Where
like
my
what
food
actually
stamps?
Well, my food stamp.
Christian
Yeah,
nationalists
who
arguing
though?
for.
Can you name a name? Can you give me the name?
No.
Dumpsters are full of food.
Oh no, I don't.
Because there isn't any, Richard. There's none who aren't using.
Yeah, that's
and by the
checkable.
way, so Richard, here's Richard's entire argument reduced. This is wild. And you can, if I'm straw manning this, I would like you actually to correct
Okay,
it.
yeah, you
But
bet.
if isn't it the case that what you're saying here is, as long as Christian nationalists utilize persuasion and democracy to change any amendments we don't like, any laws we don't like, and we utilize only persuasion and democracy to do that, and then enforce those laws tailored to our preferences, that is not indeed fascism at all, is it?
There's 2 possible outcomes. So one is that it's not.
There's 2 possible outcomes. One that I don't like, which means fascism, and the other one that I do like, which means no fascism, because that's the way that it is. Wait, fucking idiot.
And the one is that dude's gay.
The other is that if they start actually.
There's only one possible outcome. Kieran is gay. That's the only possible outcome.
That is true. That is true.
Using violence to suppress the vote, for instance, if they actually start contradicting the humanist necessary rights-based democracy, if they get rid of the democracy and the persuasion.
This guy's like, I don't want to go to church. I prefer to go dumpster diving.
Part. Now they're fascists. Right?
Well, they can limit democracy.
Once you've got billy
Wait.
clubs beating people
Wait
up
a
for
second,
saying
wait.
things you don't like.
Yeah, I know,
or-
but nobody's proposing that. No Christian nationalist. You can't
Okay.
name one. Name one.
So
Can you just name one?
Just
one.
What will you do if I have YouTubers out there find a bunch of names that fit that? Like, what behavior would you engage in?
I would engage with those same YouTubers, and I would say, look, let's go through it. Are these people actually proposing that we're using force? These serious, like guys who can actually get this done, they're seriously proposing that we're using force in order to do anything other than enforce laws that the majority of people want because they're voting them in.
Getting rid of democracy itself then would not be an example of that. That would actually be instituting a fascist government. So
you're not getting rid of democracy by limiting it.
No,
All you're doing is putting bumpers on it, like you want.
No. Like if you take away the votes of half the people, you're actually
He's the
working.
That's
bumper
not destroying
stars of the
democracy.
bowling alley.
That's just
Yeah,
flat,
it
that's
is.
flat out illogical. Okay, well then
That's
why
the
can't
vibe I
15-year-olds
was
vote?
getting.
So that gets to the competence argument, right? So there are people who are adults, let's say 40-year-olds, who can be declared legally under due process of
Sure.
law to be incompetent. And
Yeah.
so then they don't get the vote.
Okay, so help me out here. Why is it then that if we raised, let's just say hypothetically, we raise the voting age to 35, is that fascism?
Yeah, I would say so. Because you're disenfranchising. You're disenfranchising competent people who are actually part of the society and therefore have an equal. Should have an equal
Do you
say.
think 17-year-olds are a lot less competent than 18-year-olds?
So that varies case by case. So if
Yeah,
you
so
wanna get into, like,
exactly. It varies case by case.
If we wanted to have a better system, we could have competency tests, and so decide the age rather not by age, but by whether you pass the competency test. And then some people over 18 would not qualify as competent, and some people under 18 would qualify as competent.
What about prisoners?
That would be the most rational system. But
Should
it's
prisoners
expensive and difficult to
be able to
implement.
vote?
Say again?
Should prisoners be able to vote?
I worship a flying spaghetti monster, bro. And I'm a mundane Christian that performs wedding ceremonies for a gay couple, 2 for 1 New Year's. Well, you're not Christian, and if you say you worship a flying spaghetti monster, that actually mean that you are retarded, right? Like, you actually go on your knees to say the prayers to a flying spaghetti monster because that's what worship means, you retard. Oh, I go and pretend that my salvation is dependent on the fuck? Fuck.
Not when they're in prison, because they've actually gone through
So
due
you
process.
want, but wait,
Due
so,
process. See, they didn't have the right taken away.
so that's not
arbitrarily.
fascism, right?
It was due process.
So
That's
you
right.
can limit you can limit prisoners being able to vote.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's not fascism.
Yeah, 'cause
but you
that's a-
can't limit any other voting block.
That's a punishment for a
Yeah.
crime.
I don't know what I'm saying. I don't understand what concept I'm referring to.
So that's a through due
Yeah.
process, not arbitrarily.
Yeah, but it's still democracy. Let's say that you had like only people who could own property could vote. That would still be a democracy.
Yeah, true.
So the thing is like what you're saying here makes no sense. I just asked you if you limit the electorate, does that get rid of democracy? You say, or is that fascism? You said yes. The thing is, though, is that it still holds that it's using persuasion and democracy. It's still a democracy.
Yeah, and the sort of, you're using the word differently than I was. So when
I don't think I am.
When I'm talking about rights-based democracy, I am actually talking about all competent people should have an equal say in the government, so they should be enfranchised. If you're disenfranchising people, you're heading towards fascism, because now you're imposing force.
That
on
doesn't
people
mean it's
who
fascist.
don't have a participation in the government.
You see how what you're doing is equivocating here. You're using the ambiguity of the language in order to switch between two different definitions.
No.
When you said democracy here, does democracy require full participation? No. Does it require in any way, shape, or form everybody can vote?
Oh, because he just can't disparage. I'm gonna go ahead and pretend that I'm talking about X, Y, Z thing, when in reality it means something completely different. When people call me retarded because I'm saying something that is not that. Spaghettian. Who won, Abe?
Vote? No. Can we have certain people who they have stakeholder democracy, for instance? You can vote if you meet such and such criteria.
Yeah.
You can vote if you can
have
pass a
all of
civics
these.
test.
Yeah,
You
that's
can
true.
vote if you do this. You can vote. That still fits the criteria of democracy,
But
doesn't it?
that is not what I meant by democracy. You're defining democracy.
That's not what I mean. What I mean is something different. Because I am the arbiter of truth. That means that I am correct. Brothers and Foundation, Lordship Judges, Bishop Christ, Richard Yen, West Hammerskin, to name a few. The Brother Nathanael Foundation. Let's see. See what the hell. Let's see one. Let's see what this. Left on course, kind of still. One flyer tied to Idaho based Brother Nathanael Foundation. What is? Is there an actual? Uh, say
Still there.
yeah, I'm reading about this Brother Nathanael Foundation, which is just a guy that jailbreaks every now and again. Like, like every single one, it's Pastafarian. We get to dress like Pastafarian. So, for what I see, he's just a guy that jailbreaks every now and again, and I don't see the problem with that. I mean, there's a whole country in the middle of in the side of Israel that jailbreaks every day. All they do is jailbreak.
As broadly as possible, and which is fair. That's an actual use of the word. in my actual explanation, in my
Should they be considered to be? Yeah, they should. But point, it's not because they're Christians, because they're
opening, I made very clear that I'm talking about democracy that enfranchises, and not a democracy that limits to an oligarchy, for example. So you got to have rights. To have rights-based democracy, an evidence-based rights-based democracy, all competent people should have an equal say.
Oh, are you there yet? Were you able? Did you finish your route? K2.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I thought so. I heard you. I heard the beeping from the door.
They should not have it lorded over them by everybody else.
Yeah,
where
but
they
you haven't
don't have a say in
demonstrated.
the government.
Yeah, but you haven't demonstrated how that would be fascist if you limit the electorate to like super competent people or people who are very interested in voting, rather than the most bribable portions of it. Or if you just have stakeholder democracy, is stakeholder democracy fascist?
So I'm assuming. So like the thing is that stakeholders are everybody. Everybody's a stakeholder.
Well, no, not everybody owns property. For
any
instance,
narrower stakeholder is you're actually imposing force on people that don't have a say in the government. So that becomes fascist. Yeah.
Is it? So it's inherently fascist. Just is fascist?
It becomes fascist.
Yeah, but you see how you're using ambiguity again. You're switching between two different things. Yeah, look.
No.
If you say the use of force rather than persuasion in democracy, that's what fascism is. If people utilize democracy to limit democracy, it's still democracy.
Yeah, a fascist democracy.
That's not fascism.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So
it's a fascist democracy?
See, that's the distinction that I was making. If you're having an
it can be anything can be anything.
oligarchy, which is technically a democracy, that's not the democracy I was talking about. The one that we actually need. And so the instrumentation of that is that
they're the one that I think. Because I am the arbiter of truth, just like Uncle Fatty is the arbiter of his truth, because we all have our own truth. Let me go worship the spaghetti monster now.
Once you're actually, a society is using force to impose on other people who don't have a say in the government, now you've got fascism operating. That's
so
what's
parents
going
are
on.
fascist?
Say again?
Are parents fascist?
Well, incompetent people aren't relevant to this point. So you keep trying to say
wait a second.
Incompetent
I think
people are not different.
I think 17-year-olds are as competent as 18-year-olds for the most part.
And if you want to persuade to actually expand the franchise to 17-year-olds,
well, but why don't I limit it
then,
to 21? Like drinking, like you're not old enough to have a beer.
There's no sound basis for that. Actually, the drinking age shouldn't even be 21.
What should it be?
It should be 18.
It should be. What's the sound basis for 18 versus 17?
As soon as you're a competent person, you should have all your rights.
What is the difference?
May the nuclear appendage reach out and touch us all? No. Get your gay shit out of my chat.
And everybody else, and you should have.
Then Richard,
vote.
you're in. I don't understand this either. So then, what?
So
how do we determine other than arbitrarily it should be 18?
Do you even want a society where everyone has equal rights and has an equal vote who is competent? Do you want to actually take the rights of voting?
When you're talking about voting, I would raise the voting age. Yeah.
You would raise the voting age. Yeah. So that would be contrary to evidence. That'd be contrary to evidence in terms of who's actually
21.
Oh, really? When does the brain fully develop?
Around 30.
Well, that's not relevant to competence. Competence has to.
It's not relevant to competence.
No,
okay.
No, not at all. Because
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no. Your brain develops continually throughout life. So
yeah, but I mean, it develops.
Being more developed doesn't make you more competent. Competence is actually meeting a threshold of the ability to understand rational decisions.
And do we test for that?
Medical ethics boards, when they determine competency, they run a competency test to determine.
Yeah, there's a test. Is there a test for you to be enfranchised?
I would approve of one.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is that then how can you say it's competency? You can't say that these people are competent. You don't even test them.
Well,
nothing. And the thing is back to this. It also doesn't help your argument at all. How?
If someone's not competent, they can get declared incompetent. You can force the issue and have the competency test done.
Yeah, but that's different than competency in voting. Do you agree with me that there's a bunch of really
it's super gay, okay?
Uninformed voters who go out and vote anyway.
That's not the kind of competency I'm talking about. competency when you do a medical ethics test for competency, you're not testing whether they are a scientist or have medical knowledge or whatever. You're testing whether they have the ability to understand and make decisions rationally. So that does mean that they can make stupid decisions and still be competent.
Why wouldn't you put that for like voting then? Why is that a problem to do?
Because this is the thing. There's a lot of political science on this. If you actually do that, then two things happen that lead to bad results. One is people start gaming who gets to pass the test and who not, and so you've got an oligarchy again. The other thing that happens is that you can't have a society of the governed if you're excluding people who actually are competent. If you make up an idea of competence that doesn't really relate to the competency that we're trying to talk about now.
Yeah, but you also have
Like,
you have other.
Can you make rational
But you have
decisions?
other issues with
if
universal.
If you have the ability to make rational decisions about your life, then you actually are competent enough to be.
Yeah,
a
but you
participant in the
have
society.
you have bad issues here too with universal suffrage. You end up with incompetent voters who can be bribed because on the short term they get things that they want.
That's not the competency that we're talking about.
It is the competency that we're talking about.
Now you're obfuscating by using two different concepts of competency.
I mean, okay, first of all, I didn't even define what I meant by. I'm trying to use what you mean by it.
No, I'm watching you do it.
And so
right
the second portion here that we're looking at is, again, your claim here is that suffrage has to be universal or it's fascism. When your opening statement, when I asked you to define this, and I remember I made sure I got you to do it 3 different times so that I was clear, use of force rather than persuasion and democracy. You're now saying that the democracy that you're talking about is a requirement of full enfranchisement. Full enfranchisement.
Well, I mean, apart from the exceptions we just talked about, right?
Yeah, right. So the thing is that anything outside of that is fascist? Is a fascist society?
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Well, it depends on how it implements that. So,
How about a monarchy? How about a socialist paradise? Shit. Oh, these people are so dumb.
Yeah, I am, Emmett.
No,
I
you're not
am.
dumb. You're pretty smart. Pretty smart guy. You're a pretty smart guy. You know what, K2? I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna see.
I'm
I
pretty
think,
fly for a
I
white
think
guy.
Kieran is on. I think I saw him online. So I'm gonna check if Kieran is actually online. Then Kieran. Uh, no, he's not on.
Not cool, Kieran.
It's fine. I'm gonna go to bed because this is so.
You're good.
Was that an attack on Eddie Willie? I don't know. Any last words before I go?
No. You can kick me.
Good to see you, K2. Have a great one. People, we're few far between. But what's up, Kieran? I thought you were going live. In fact, you know what? You know what? This is what we're gonna do. Go to Kieran. Take advantage of him. I'm gonna go to bed. Go to Kieran. tell him to stream or something. I'm just gonna go to bed. I'm gonna end it. I don't even gonna say goodbye. I'm coping so hard. Have a good one, people. Enjoy the rest of the night.